Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
But this is me playing. What are you guys talking about? Jeez. It's just no satisfying you. Maybe someday I will. Got the Helix over here. I guess I could plug in today. This is not a guitar show. This is a Red Pill show. Today we're going to talk about the burden of performance, how it interacts with tests. We're going to continue on our sexual market value discussion here. I am back. I'm back from Las Vegas. I should have played Viva Las Vegas instead. Lots of great stuff coming up. Buenos dias. Buenos tardes, mis amigos. How are you today? Oh, no, sorry. No Greyhound Cam today. He's wiped out, actually. Ned is very wiped out.
Hello there, children. How's it going?
There we go. Good enough. Well, I'm back. I'm sorry. Did you miss me on Sunday? I wish I could have been here for you on Sunday, but I was in Las Vegas. I had lots of things to do in Las Vegas. I usually make one trip, at very least one trip a year to Las Vegas. Actually, usually a whole lot more than that. But my annual pilgrimage to Sin City usually happens at the beginning of the year for my regular job, for my real job, and just doing sort of like planning for the upcoming year. Needless to say, 2020 was a bit of a different year for us. So back, had a lot of other things that I was doing. It's kind of fun. I like to. It's fun to visit with friends and people that I know who are not, they're work associates, I guess, but they're not like red pill guys per se. They know a few of them know what I do. The guys who I work with my whiskey brands know who I am and what I do, and what I've been doing really for 2020. I'm trying to incorporate. Maybe even doing endorsements with a few of them under the rollotomassi / rationalmale moniker. So maybe we'll see. I've always kind of been real careful with that because I don't know who is cool with it and who is not. What did you lose? Amazon lost my book. Okay, well, sorry. It's kind of crazy right now, don't you think? Now, what are you asking me already? Right out the gate. Can you ask out a girl while she's working? Yes. Do you want to? Are you working with her? Service industry. She's legitimately interested in you. You cannot just want a bigger. Right. Okay, fine. Yeah, sure. You have my permission. Go with Vaya con Dios, man. Yeah, there you go. Who else? Nope, nobody else hit me up. Okay. Hold your horses there, gentlemen. We have a lot to get to today. One of the great things about going off for a little while. Actually, this is the first break I think I've taken, and I don't really want to call it a break because it was really kind of a working break. But I was gone for about 4 days in Vegas, 5 if you count when I flew back yesterday. And it's good to sort of get my head into something else other than this stuff because it clears my brain so that I can start thinking about things again in a red pill perspective. And Aiden, yes, I have seen your email. I will answer your chat because you gave me a super chat, I guess, a week ago, last Sunday. And I'm going to talk about what you asked me about because it kind of dovetails nicely into what I'm going to get into today. So just hold your horses. I'll get to you. But like it gives me a chance to kind of clear my head a little bit and start thinking about stuff that I've written about in book 4, obviously, but also some new topics and some new ways of thinking about stuff. One of the great things, and if you've already read at least the introductory or the introduction or the foreword to book 4, this will probably sound familiar to you. I think that as a, I don't call it a movement, but as a praxology, as if you want to call like a game or the red pill, or in its most basic form, the red pill is a praxology. It's a loose science, and it's a science that consists of a lot of subfields. So there's obviously there's psychology, evo-psych, sociology, anthropology, actually, evo-bio. There's a lot of stuff. You could even make the case that you could put, thank you, Aiden. You could put, I think anyways, you guys might disagree with me, but that's the beauty of this whole thing, is we're allowed to disagree with each other, and we're allowed to have conversations, unlike the greater whole of humanity these days. But we can sit down and we can have a conversation. And the best part about, I think, the red pill as a praxology is that it's a praxology. Everything is written in pencil, not in pen. So if something pops up, if people say, I disagree with you about hypergamy, I disagree with you about the soulmate, I disagree with you about XYZ, doesn't matter what it is. Okay. If you want to pick on one particular area of anything in my writing, I'm happy to discuss that with you. Always. You want to debate? Rollotomassi is a high priest of some masculine cult. No, that's not a debate. That's a settled fact. No, no, that's not a debate. You're not asking me about anything in particular. You're not saying that you disagree with something that's an actual element or an aspect of red pill just analysis, right? Observations, because really that's what it is. It's observations and then building predictive frameworks based on those observations. But the best part is if and I've done this, I think I've actually done this on the show, where if somebody says, well, what about mate guarding? That was a good one. I just did that about 3 weeks ago. And I said, hey, I've kind of changed my position on this just a little bit, not greatly. I still think that mate guarding can be alpha and it can be beta. It just depends on where that mate guarding instinct is coming from. I think that most men have a mate guarding instinct to some degree. And depending on whether that guy is predominantly more alpha or is more beta, is how it's expressed, and it's contextual, yes, and it's your situation, and what do you default to, kind of thing, and it becomes a behavioral thing because you're behaving based on the instinct that you're being incentivized by or motivated by. And so I used to think this. I used to think that. Thank you, Sean. What'd you say? Also inspired me to write again. Good for you. Please do. Please keep writing. See, I'm always encouraging guys to, like, if you want to write a book, if you want to, and I don't care what it is, you want to write a essay on something, or you want to start a blog, you want to write a book, you want to write some fiction, please be my guest. So as far as like mate guarding, I'm using mate guarding because that's really the easiest example, because I just talked about this, is that you can change your mind about things as you get more information. As people kind of make their case. I used to think, and if you read my earlier work, you'll know that this is true. I used to think that that mate guarding was really more of a beta behavior. And I think it's more of a male behavior. I think it's instinctual to men to mate guard, but it depends on that guy's situation and what he's about and where his mindset's at. Again, alpha's a mindset, not a demographic. Is a guy more predominantly beta and blue pill? Well, mate guarding in that context takes a different form, or takes different behaviors. It becomes sort of an insecurity kind of thing. Whereas for a guy who's more predominantly alpha, it might be manifested in a different way. Okay, great. I used to think that it was mostly a beta thing, but now I see that it's a male thing. And how is it expressed, right? You can express it in an alpha way. You can express it in a beta way. There you go. Written in pencil, not written in pen. I still buy pencils with erasers on them. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that what happens is during the time that I have been involved in writing what I do, what we now call the manosphere. By the way, it wasn't always the manosphere. It was just the seduction community, the PUAs, right? Alt-fast seduction, so suave, that kind of stuff. I know it's hard to believe, but we're going on about 20 years. We're at about 19 years now with what we now call the manosphere, but what really is sort of red pill thought or red pill praxology, red pill awareness of intersexual dynamics, and then you extrapolate that into whatever else that you want to. But again, the beauty of it is that nothing's set in stone. That's why I call it a loose science. So people, I think that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And the reason I'm starting with this today is because I get a lot of people who, especially in book 4 right now, which is religion, you get people who say, well, you said this all that time back then, man. What's up with that? You said. Or they'll mischaracterize what I've said. They'll say, well, Rollo Tomassi said that women can't love men. No, that's not what I said. And what I wrote was that women fundamentally lack the capacity to love men in the way that men would ideally like to be loved themselves in an idealistic perspective. But people don't want to hear that. It's all binary and it's all extreme and it's all, see, he was right. It's a black pill. No, it's not. You need to go and actually educate yourself and take the time to do so before you start, flying off the handle. So keep those things in mind. It's been around for a long time. It's funny to me. I was this one other thought I was having. I think I do my best thinking about this kind of stuff when I'm not thinking about it. Right? When I don't have to, when I go, what am I going to do about the show? What am I going to do? What am I going to write the next book about? What am I going to write the next post about? Which, by the way, new post incoming for the Rational Male. I am restarting. I'm rebooting my blog, which has needed a freshening up for a long time. So if you're a regular on my blog, thank you for sticking with it for as long as I still get close to 4,000 to 5,000 people reading the blog daily right now, which is good. Thank you for doing so. There's going to be more material. And that's what I'm sort of getting at right now, is that the material that I'm working on and the stuff that's in my notebooks right now is all coming from the fact that I'm not really thinking about much right now when it comes to the red pill and the manosphere and all that. Because once I kind of just stop for a minute, that's when I start contemplating things. Somebody will throw a topic at me and I'll be like, And then I might not actually talk about the topic, but like what the topic was about will inspire me or like trigger. It's like the germ of an idea for something else. So please do keep doing those. I've got a lot of email and I need to set this forth right here, right now. Especially with the 4th book out, I am just inundated with emails right now. If I don't get back to you, it's not that I'm trying to be a jerk. It's that I have so much of people write me these walls of text and I read everyone. I try to read everyone, but if I go through every single one of these things and I try to read it I could probably just get up at like 6 a.m., read all these things, respond to all these things, and it would be 6 p.m. by the time I was done. So there's a lot. Please, I'm not trying to snub you or anything like that. It's just that I have a lot going on right now. I am going to be doing counseling, but I still have to, if you want counseling, and I've got a lot of requests for this recently, I am going to be getting back into that. But if you want counseling, wait until the blog is freshened up and I've sort of, I don't call it reboot because I'm not really rebooting it, but I'm just freshening it up and I'm getting back into regular writing. Once you see that happen, and I'm going to change things design wise too. Once you see that happen, that's when I'm going to start doing counseling once again. And again, if you're following me on Patreon, I will be doing a group sessions on Patreon. I am going to do that. It's really tough right now because now I got to promote and I've got all kinds of people wanting me to come on their shows because of the new book. So, and speaking of which, one of those, and I'm going to make the announcement right now, is I'm going to be flying out to Miami and I'm going to meet up with Fresh Fit or Myron Gaines and Fresh. And also I will be on a show live in their studio in Miami. And Hotep Jesus will be joining me as well. So it's going to be the first time we're all going to get together in the same room and sort of just, shoot the breeze and talk about things. I'll probably do one by myself and then I'll do another show with Hotep Jesus. So we'll probably be talking about the new book. And I know that we're going to talk about the state of masculinity. So those are your sort of speculative topics to look forward to. I will promote the hell out of that within the next probably within the next week. So there you go. Chris, what did you have to say? Thank you for that $20. Hey, Rollo. A year ago, I found the red pill indirectly through Chad Aaron Clary, which sent me on a long trip down the rabbit hole. Instead of angering me, it calmed me down. Any words of wisdom for a 20-year-old like me? Yeah. Make yourself your mental point of origin. That's the best thing I can tell you to do. like make yourself the first thing that jumps into your mind. Also, you might also consider this. Realize, accept, and embrace the fact that you have a burden of performance as a man. And that's what I'm going to get into today. I have to also start off here by talking about like what is a test. And I'm going to call it a fitness test until we get to the 30-minute mark. And then I will tell you that you guys already know what it is. It's a shit test. Okay. So we already know what that is from a sort of, I guess, a game aware perspective. This is a term that was used back in the PUA days, right? In seduction communities, which was a shit test. And a shit test was this, it's a fitness test. And I'm just going to call it that for the time being. Fitness test is how does a woman vet you subconsciously? How does she look for qualities in you without actually having to ask you directly? Now, remember, when women communicate, it's always about the covert. Women don't communicate like men do. And I've gone through this before. I'll just give you the quick breakdown here. Women communicate covertly, men communicate overtly. Women have a biologically, evolutionarily, an innate ability for communication that exceeds men's ability for communication. That's why they get into social sciences. That's why they get into psychology. That's why women tend to opt for careers that are people-centric. As Dr. Steven Pinker has said, one of the gendered differences between men and women, men tend to be interested in things, women tend to be interested in people. It is my opinion that the reason for that is because women are wired for that. They are wired for communication. They are wired for subcommunications. They are wired for nuance, seeing what you say, how you hold yourself, what the tone of voice was. Whenever I am criticized by women, it's not about, they tend not to, at least this is what they say anyways, they tend not to criticize me for the information that I'm putting out there. They think that the way that I present it or I give it to them is harsh. They don't like the tone. In fact, I get this all the time. I think that one of the most common criticisms I get from women is like, if you just change your tone, then women would understand you. And I'm like, no, it's really the information. I try to be as straightforward. I try anyways. I communicate like a guy, right? I give you the information. That's what this whole thing is about. That's why I always try to make this sort of like a classroom set. So, and I'm at the risk of sounding like Tom Likas in Likas 101. I hope you're taking notes. Wouldn't that be great? I give you an outline in pretty much every single one of my descriptions. And then I also give you relevant links to what I've written in either my books or on my blog, which you'll see there. I usually give you at least 3, so you guys can go check that out. But I try to stay as sort of objective and as straightforward and as informational as I possibly can. Now I try to make that engaging and entertaining, of course. But I think really what happens, one of the reasons why what I say rubs women the wrong way with respect to tone is because they don't like the information. They don't like what I'm conveying because it sort of gives up the game. But that's where they default to. And the reason they do that is because women tend to prioritize communication in terms of how that communication made them feel. So when women get together with other women, they do so for the sake of communicating. Let's catch up. Let's go get coffee. Let's go do, are you guys familiar with what a stitching bitch is? It's a term that was used. I don't know if it's still used. Maybe it's not. Stitch and bitch was like for women who like to knit and then just sit and the reason they're not really knitting anything. Like it's funny because it was like 20-year-olds, and maybe this is a millennial thing. 20-year-old women, 20-ish-year-old women would get together and stitch because it gave them a chance to just sit down and just bitch, right? Just to talk. And women will get together for the express purpose of just communicating, whereas men, we don't do that. We tend to get together for a project. We have like an object to complete. And then as a result of that, while we're trying to complete, fix the car or whatever it is that we're working on, or maybe we're fishing, right? The object is to catch the biggest damn fish you can find. While you're doing that, that's when you start talking, right? Men tend to look out at the horizon or out at the game or wherever, whatever it is that they're doing. And while they're communicating, whereas women tend to be straight, face to face kind of thing. And that's as a result of women having that innate natural proclivity for communication that differs from men. It's a biological difference. It's the way that our brains are wired. Women are wired for communication. So when it comes to vetting a guy, when it comes to testing a guy, when it comes to a shit test, it's a game. And that's really, I think, a lot of the times, I think one of the reasons why the early PUAs in the seduction community called it game was because that's really what it was. It was like playing a game. It was a back and forth. It was I go, you go. It was it's almost I've said this before. It's almost like improvisational theater. And guys ask me all the time, like, how do I get better at game, Rollo? If you want to get better at game, if you want to be a better, you want to be better at social interactions. If you want to gain, I think, a little bit more social intelligence, get into improvisational theater, or put yourself into a position where you have to interact with the public in some way, or somebody else one-on-one. We have to look them in the eye and you have to talk to them. Somebody you don't even know. Get used to chatting up the cash register, the girl at the cash register, or the barista, or wherever you're at. Even if you're not like trying to mac on her, right? Like, get in the habit of looking people in the eye. That was an old what we used to call the DJ boot camp, or the PUA boot camp back in the day, is making eye contact with people. A lot of people really have a tough time making eye contact with people. Eye contact, by the way, is central to pretty much any animal's attack posture. If you look at guys, like if you're seeing guys like probably John Fitch knows this. You've ever seen guys who kind of stare each other down, or kids, like usually boys, have a staring contest, and the first person who blinks loses. Why is that? Why is that like a contest? Why is that in any way a challenge to keep your eyes on that person? Or like when boxers or MMA fighters go to a weigh-in and they're standing there shirtless and they're looking at each other, and it's just that hostility between each other with that straight, eye contact. That's central to certainly the human attack posture. When it's going to go down, when those guys are looking at each other and they're not talking. Maybe they're posting up on each other, but it's always direct, straight ahead kind of thing. That's a sub-communication. So learning how to deal, like most guys are kind of like conflict averse when it comes to stuff like that. So they don't like want to look down, or maybe because you've spent most of your time on the screen, you're not really looking at the camera. Like occasionally I look at the camera. I'm usually looking at the screen because I'm looking to see what you guys are talking about. But when I'm on a camera, I know to look at the camera, because it's almost like looking at, straight to, face to face. I can talk to you right here. How's that? But for a lot of people, they have real difficulty with that, for a lot of guys in particular. And you need to get over that fear. And the only way you do that is by practice. So there's your tip. There's your game tip for the day. But when it comes to, I'm not saying you have to be like this super outgoing, extroverted guy. You just have to have some sort of social intelligence and like figure out how you can interact with people. So that's not something I'm going to get into today, but it's sort of peripherally related to a shit test, because when you are being sized up by a woman, it is usually as a result of them testing you to see if you get it, if you are somebody that she can relate to, are you really who you are? So I've done a few episodes prior. I think I did them with Pat Campbell almost 2 years ago, where we were talking about, when a woman does this, what does she mean? It's like womanese. And I know Donovan Sharp and some other guys have the womanese thing. Why can't women just say what they mean and mean what they say? Well, if they did, they would be communicating like guys. And that's what throws a lot of men off when it comes to that communication. They don't realize that they're being tested, because most guys who are blue pill conditioned believe that women should be as rational as they are. They should be as reasonable. And we just don't want to play games. Nobody's playing games. I don't want to play games. I just want to get down to the nuts and bolts of things. There is no more male way of wishing that you could have some sort of, male on male interaction with a female. And a lot of guys will say that. Like a lot of guys will say, well, how come women can't just say what they mean to mean what they say? Well, they do sometimes, when they're exasperated to the point where they realize you're not going to get it, or they realize that the message that they're conveying to you is so important to them that they have to make sure that There's no confusion, right? There's no uncertain terms. So when a girl is like playing coy with you, or it's what I did an episode called Coquetry, right, where a woman goes from hot to cold, and she plays games, or she's playing hard to get, that kind of stuff. That's sort of feeling you out. Those are shit tests. They're what I call active shit tests. Passive shit tests and active shit tests. I'll explain what those mean here in just a second. But those shit tests are really testing of fitness, and that fitness is not so much like, oh, is he hot? Can he go and change a tire? It's not that. It's, can I engage? Can I figure this dude out? Is he really giving me honest cues, or is he full of shit? Is he again, why is it a shit test? And so she gives you shit because she wants to play with you, and she wants you to play with her. Women do not, and if you've read any of my books, you understand this. I'll repeat this quote once more. Women don't want to be told that they're playing a game. They want to play that game. That's why I say play with her and play with her. Got it? Do you understand what I mean when I say that? Play with her and play with her. Because when, and again, this gets back to the observer effect. Observer effect is this, is that observing a process changes that process. So when guys say, wow, why can't women just say what they mean and mean what they say? Why can't they just be more about the information and just get down to business and brass tacks? Like, the business of men is business. Why can't they just do that, right? Well, because they'd be guys at that point. They would not be. Then you would complain about how masculine women are and they're not feminine, right? Because they relate like guys do, and they're just so masculinized, which you might have a case for, but the fact is that if you're asking, if you're looking for a feminine woman and you're still wanting her to behave like and think like your best friend, your best male friend, you're looking for an animal that doesn't exist. So like when guys say, well, I want an intelligent woman that I can relate with. Well, you can, and I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just they relate differently than you're going to relate. And so guys don't like to go over to women's way of communicating, and women don't like to come over to men's way of communicating because they want you to just get it. And I've done an episode on just get it, which is women don't want a guy who has to be told how to be masculine. They don't want a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. They want that competency, and they want it in the form like guys will say, do I have to be a mind reader? Sometimes, yes, you do. According to women, you have to be a mind reader. And it's not reading her mind. It's understanding women so well that you have a muse mastery, right? That you know what she's going to say, and you know you see the problem 3 steps before it happens, right? It's like playing chess. You're beating your opponent like 3 or 4 moves ahead. And the way you do that is you have experience playing chess. You have experience playing that game. Most guys do not have the patience for that. I 100% understand that, and it's getting more and more exasperating for guys these days because they don't want to play these games. Well, sorry, that's the nature of the game, and that's the nature of the animal. So if you don't want to play and you want to just give up and throw up your arms in disgust, well, you can do that. Go right ahead, but you are no longer competitive in that sense. So you're just basically saying, I don't get it, I don't want to get it, I'm going to go over here and play with my toys, kind of thing, instead of how do I understand, how do I get that education, and like a lot of guys will think that it's too difficult, right? It's too much work. It's too they just simply lack the patience for it. They don't see the reward in it, and again, I get that. So there's this want to kind of remove themselves from the game. I'll talk about that a little bit later. That's in my notes here. But I wanted to get down to what a shit test actually is after I answer this question from Matthew, who says, what do you do? An entire show on the phenomenon seeking your fortune. Men of the past weren't in line for the family business or a factory job or had a dent in the universe to ensure that their economic abundance. Well, guess what, Matthew? I'm going to talk about that today, on this very show, Matt. So stick around. What else are you guys asking me? I got to that. Let's see. Am I going to do a book in Bulgarian? No, I'm not going to do a book in Bulgarian. I mean, I'm not against it, but... Received the new book today. Thanks for opening my eyes to the gynocentric reality. You are welcome, sir. Donnie O. Pedro, Volvo Pedro. Is it a good idea to call a woman out when she is testing you? No. No, but that's a good question, though. Thank you for that, Texas. Again, here's why. Because women want to play the game. They don't want to be told that they are playing a game. Guys ask me this all the time. They'll say, Rollo, doesn't your wife read your books? Doesn't she read your blog? Isn't she like right out in the foyer out here? Is she not right outside the studio listening to your? Does she not watch your YouTube? So if that's the case, then doesn't she know all your tricks? No, she doesn't, because my tricks are in here, right? I'm not playing, like I'm not like explaining stuff to her. I'll explain stuff to you, and it's not like, because she knows that I play the game. I am the game, right? I am the red pill. My natural response to things is going to be from that awareness, from that internalized awareness. So, but the same thing holds true for women. So like if you know something and you say, oh, you're doing that just to shit test me. If you start talking about that, you're not playing the game anymore. You're kind of exposing the game. And a lot of guys will do that too. And they end up like shooting themselves in the dick. They think that will, in some, like that they think that they can relate what's actually going on, the more attractive they'll be. Or guys will think that their intelligence or their understanding of red pill awareness should in some way make women appreciate them more, or in some way like separate them from the rest of the herd. Well, he gets it because he just said that I'm using hypergamy. Most women don't even know what the word hypergamy is or what it means. They understand the principle. And if you talked about that, and if you said alpha seed, beta need, if you said, attraction versus arousal, if you started talking about like, jerks versus nice guys, they get that. They'll understand that. But you start saying, well, hypergamy says that you're in your ovulatory phase, you're going to go for the guy who's got the jacked guy with a, if you start like explaining it, and like I do, like if you turn into rollotomassi with a woman, you're not going to get laid. You're really not going to get laid. You're going to end up over explaining things. You're going to end up giving up the game. Again, observing a process changes the process. Guys, if you want to, most guys will say this, well, shouldn't I call her out on this? Yeah, I mean, from a guy perspective, if it was another guy, yes, that's exactly what I would expect you to do. If it was another guy and you were going to have this rational, reasonable conversation with him, and you're going to try to change his mind from the perspective of, I've got this data, here's the rational male, read this, here's the red pill, here's what Rollo said, here's what these guys said, here's what, whoever you follow, I don't care. And you present that to them, and you're presenting it to them in the sense of like, here's a reasoned explanation for why women are or men are the way that they are. Great. And you can have that experience with another guy because you're relating information. Again, the way that men communicate is based on information relays, right? I've got information I'm giving to you, you give me feedback, and we go back and forth. For women, it's how did the conversation make them feel? You understand what I'm saying? Trying to remember how I said this. When men communicate, it's about content. It's about the information is prioritized. I'm not saying men don't feel when they're talking. They do. But when it comes to prioritizing certain things about conversation or communication, women prioritize feeling and context of that communication, whereas men prioritize the content. Now, and afterwards, when men, start talking about whatever it is that happened, maybe it was a tragedy, maybe it was a victory, maybe it was something else. How did that make them feel? Great, that's fine. But the priority in that communication is what the hell happened. What is the information? How did it happen? How did he win? How did he lose? How did he die? How did he win? How did he have a baby? How did he get $1 million? How did he get jacked? Those kinds of things. And then maybe you go, okay, well, how did I feel about that? Then you'll process that. For women, it's the other way around. How does the conversation and the context make them feel when they're getting that relation? So when they get it from another woman who's actually prioritizing feelings above the content of that, then they get off on that first. And that's why indignation is such a big deal. That's why they can cry. Women cry more, why women have more of an emotional connection. Or that's why women think that when men do friendship, that it's the wrong way, because men don't do, usually in an organic way, men don't have the same kind of communications that women do. Women think, oh, that's horrible. You need to be you need to be more vulnerable. You need to be in touch with your emotions. How come you guys don't? Men don't have any friends. Well, we don't do emotion like women do, and women don't do emotion like us. But we, in a gynocentric social order, we think that the way that women do emotion is the correct way. And as a sort of an add-on or a tag-on to that, women think that the way that men relate with other men in a masculine context is wrong because they're not getting together and just crying and just hugging and getting into a cuddle group and a hug box and whatever it is. Because naturally we don't do that unless we've learned that that's the way we're supposed to do it, because that's the correct way. In a gynocentric social order, however women do something, that's the correct way to do it. And that's how it works when it comes to communication. And I'm starting with communication here because when women are interacting with you and they're giving you a shit test, they're expecting you to get it, to understand. This is a shit test. I'm messing with you. You want to know why guys have a real tough time when another guy kind of ribs them or gives them shit? Like I give shit, and you'll find if you want to see this in action, watch Masculine Geek tonight. We're going to do the monthly D&D game. We give each other shit all the time. If you went and you looked at the interactions between, like the tweets between myself and Vince and Rob and Aaron, especially Aaron Clary, we give each other shit all the time, and that's just how we relate, and that's how guys naturally do that. Like we give each other fitness tests, right? Sometimes it's to relieve, kind of like comic relief, but for a really intense situation that you're in. But it's also, do you have my back? Yes, I do. Do you have my back? Yes, I do. Are you? Yeah, you suck. You suck too. Ha, you suck more. Whatever, that kind of stuff. Women just don't understand. They don't understand why. How can we be so mean to each other? Well, because when guys understand how to communicate with other guys, we understand that I'm playing and you're playing. And it's not like I think you're an asshole, but I'm going to call you an asshole. Hey, what's up, asshole? That kind of stuff. For guys, for most guys today, they think of that as bullying. They think of it as hazing. And why do they think that? Because they believe, or they have been taught and conditioned from the time they're little boys to think that the way that men relate with each other is bullying. That's why they don't understand. I don't understand guys. I don't understand. I don't have any. That's why every time I'm talking to a guy, the first thing I ask them is, do you have any tribes? Do you have anybody that you hang out with? Do you have any friends? What's your social network like? And I mean that in the sense of like, what's your tribal network like as a guy? Like, do you have hobbies? Do you have things that you like to do? Do you play sports? Do you go to the gym? Do you have a workout partner? Do you have guys that you hang out with after work? Those kinds of things. And 9 times out of 10, the root of their problem is that they are just isolated and they isolate themselves. And primarily it's because they don't understand how to have male friendships with other guys. I don't know how to get in with these guys. Do I have to be jacked to go work out with guys? No, you don't. You just have to be a dude. You just have to understand how men communicate. Women, same thing. But when you have the two of them, when you have women and you have men, and they're playing together, it's a different situation because you have two different communication styles. That's why women want to know if you just get it. So that's what a shit test is. A shit test from women, it comes in 2 varieties. There's a passive test and there's the active test. Let's start with the active test. The active test is the easiest one. The active test is when you meet a girl at a bar, right? Or you meet a girl who you're not engaged with, right? You're not intimate. Maybe you just met her. Maybe you're trying to get intimate with her. But you just met her at a club, you just met her socially, whatever. Maybe you met her online. That's one of the reasons why I think that online like dating and seeing, getting after it with each other on, Tinder or whatever. One of the reasons why I think it's a bad idea, like from a human sense, from human psychological sense, is because it gives you no room for playing the game. It's like, well, I'm gonna text this to her, and my text game is really, really tight. Well, could you take that text game and could you put that into a live, one-on-one? Most guys use text and they use that interaction, or like Tinder or Bumble or even Instagram to a greater degree, I think, use that as a buffer, as I keep saying, because they have an over-reliance on it. And then when they get into a live situation where they got to meet that girl It's no longer can he play the game, or they think that they played the game by typing something out, and there's no voice inflection, there's no facial. For women, I think that texting is satisfying to women because they get the attention from guys, but there's not the same level of I can read what he's talking about, I can read what he looks like, I can hear what he's talking. Does he get it, kind of thing. And women don't get that information or don't realize if a guy gets it or not until they meet that guy face to face. So a guy who's a clever gamma, a guy who's a clever beta, whatever, a guy who's intelligent enough to figure out what's the right thing to say, or maybe his best friend is really good at text game and he's texting for him. That doesn't do anything for, like, a woman's never going to figure that out until she meets you face to face. That's why when guys get together with a chick and they go, oh, it never worked out, or they never get a second date, or they never got to, knocking it out with her or whatever else. The reason for that is usually it's that she goes, oh, is that what you're about? Like, she meets you face to face. And so all of that innate kind of instinctual testing, that instinctual filter comes in. So when women are actively testing you, it's usually playing with you. It's usually playful. Sometimes it can be just sort of giving you grief kind of thing. And that's usually what the old pickup artists used to say. Well, she was doing this, or she was trying to give me a fitness test, or she's trying to give me some sort of test to see if I'm really what I'm about. And when it comes to active tests, is this guy alpha? Is this guy really who he says he is? That's what an active shit test is about. Is this guy the real deal? Does he know how to play the game? Does he just get it? Does he understand that we are playing a game? And that's, when you got good game, that's part of that as well. But really, a shit test is a filter. And that filter goes back to the existential fear of women. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But on an active test, it's you face to face. It's her giving you grief, you giving her grief back, neg hits, all that stuff that came out of the early 2000s seduction community, all that stuff, amuse mastery, cocky funny, Kino, knowing, like, guys will complain, say, oh, it's all routine and rote memorization. Yeah, it is, but it is because it works, and it worked back then. And if you modify it for today, it still works today. The principles on which those old school PUA techniques were based on are still valid. The way that they're delivered might be, you have to change that up, obviously, for keep it current, keep it fresh. But the innate psychological responses and reflexes that those techniques were developed upon are still valid. Human females are still human females, and men are still men, right? So when it comes to playing the game and this sort of back and forth, the active shit test is to figure out if you're the real deal. Are you giving her real information? Is this the guy? Is this guy is he really that hot? Is he really that funny? Is he really this way? Is he really, going to make partner in the law team, or is he really just a sandwich artist at Subway? It's meant to determine, genuine cues. Genuine information about you. That's what the shit test is. And guys need to learn how to play along with that. Most guys don't want to, because they think that women should relate to them just as rationally and reasonably as anybody else, which is bullshit. So if you're going to be good at interacting with women, you also have to be good interacting with men. It's really a social intelligence thing. So that's the active test. The passive test is this. Passive tests usually come after you're already involved with the woman. So my wife will give me shit tests to this day. Yes, rollotomassi's wife gives him shit tests, right? Every woman will do it. Women will give you shit tests subconsciously and not even realize that they're doing it. It is innate, and it is just part of women's hindbrain psyches. They will do it without even realizing that they're doing it. And when you point out, you're giving me a shit test right now, that you just failed the shit test because you called it out. Instead of reacting to it, responding to it, and passing that shit test. So I just got that, a minute ago. A guy asked me, he says, well, shouldn't you just call them out on their shit tests? Yeah, if you don't want to have sex with them. Yeah, if you want to make yourself feel good. Yeah, if you think that you're gonna you get some sort of satisfaction from what you think is revenge by calling that kind of stuff out. But you're not playing the game at that point. You're removing yourself out of that game, and you're moving her out of that game by doing so. Vox Day said this about guys who are in the gamma category of sociosexual hierarchies, right? Alpha, beta, delta, gamma, omega, whatever it is. And the guys that are in the gamma side is, he mentioned this in his video. He said he was talking to women about the guy that personality type or that kind of guy who's that sociosexual hierarchy, the gamma. The gamma is usually a guy who's very intelligent and doesn't understand or doesn't understand why he has to play a game, doesn't understand why men and women can't just be like completely rational agents and it's like, I like you, you like me, let's fuck, okay, we're gonna go. Like that kind of stuff. Or why doesn't she see that I'm actually the best guy for her? And they try to make this rational, reasonable case as to why he'd be the perfect boyfriend or he'd be the perfect father or the perfect whatever, the protector, provider, and parentally invested. And they say, well, women say this and I am this. And why can't they? Women are just crazy. It's just a sign of the times. Well, what Vox Day said is the girls who would hear that or would see that personality, they have this irresistible urge or this like unconscious instinctual urge to punch that guy in the face. And it's not because he's a jerk or he's stupid or he's, very cringy, got it. But it's because he doesn't get it. And it's because he doesn't realize that he doesn't get it. And that guy who's the gamma guy who thinks he has it all figured out and women in any rational planet would choose him over, Giga Chad. Because Giga Chad is this loser who will never be faithful because why would he? He's Giga Chad, right? But I will be, baby, and I'm the best choice for kids and for family and for financial support and all this other good stuff. And they don't understand why women want to keep going with that guy. Or if they do, they'll say, well, this girl's special because she appreciates me for me being me, like just be yourself, right? And not like those other girls who want to get with Giga Chad. Well, actually, the girl that you're with wants to get with Giga Chad. She just doesn't have the opportunity, and you're her next best option. Usually that's how it works. But women get that kind of cringy, it's like creepiness. And I think I've done at least one show on this show about the creep. I did a 3-part series called The Creep on the Rational Male on my blog. And the reason I did a 3-part series is because I wanted to sort of explore what it is about guys that gives women that creepy sense. Like why does one guy seem like a creep and the other guy who's good looking and has his shit together and can schmooze and has social intelligence, why does he not come off as a creep? Even though he might be a worse choice than the guy who she thinks is a creep. But that guy's never going to get to know about her, or she's never going to get to understand who he is because she gives him the creep vibe and the other guy didn't. So I explored that. Like, why is that? Well, because it's usually that guy did not pass a test. The gammas usually don't pass the test because they're too busy analyzing the test. They're too busy coming up with reasons and spreadsheets about why they should be chosen and other guys shouldn't. And the reason why they come off as creepy, the reason why they come off as like they want to punch them in the face is because it trips women's existential fear. Now, the existential fear of women is something that I've talked about on the show a lot of times, but I've never really gone into too much detail about it. The existential fear of women is to get tricked, to be tricked by a guy that she thought was alpha, or she thought was a guy that would be worth it to have sex with, worth it to start a relationship with, would be worth it to in some way try to lock this guy down because the guy that she wanted to get with in the right place at the right time was showing all these signs, and he got past the hypergamous filter. The hypergamous filter is really it's a filter, it's a fail safe in women's hindbrains that is a buffer, let's just say, against getting tricked. That's why women look for other women's opinions of other guys. That's why pre-selection is such a big deal. That's why, pre-selection and social proof are such a big deal for women, because women cannot rely on just their feminine intuition to figure out if a guy is really who he says he is. So you have to keep that in mind, the existential fear, because back in the day, if a woman made the wrong choice, that could be a death sentence for her. Because childbearing was tough. If the guy didn't stick around, women looked for the guy who was a sort of the protector. And they looked for the guy who was also not just the protector, but the guy who's the hot guy too. Oh, let me see. What? John. Pedro, that was you. So that's your answer to your question. Let me keep going here. Dragoon says, what do you think of the book, The Way of the Superior Man by David Dita? I'll give you the brief answer. It's really touchy-feely, herbal, shamanistic garbage is what I think it is. There you go. Let's see. That's the easiest answer I can give you. I could give you a more in-depth one later. Gerard Parker, thanks for that $5. And John from Modern Life Dating with the $100. Thank you, my friend. Richard Cooper nor Aaron Clary has never dominated this much. Just saying, thank you. Well, I mean, I like both those guys. I mean, we have our different niches, I think. So does John. John has his own niche too. Are you back in Japan or are you still in the States? Are you still like hurling up in disgust at the American women in America? Oh, wait, no, I know you're in the States. You're in Miami right now, or you're going to be pretty soon, or maybe you're with Donovan right now. Alex, I'm going to go backwards here. What advice would you give me regarding height? I'm 5'5" Hispanic male. I've been told I'm very good looking and in great athletic shape. Well, stay that way and look for women who are in your height range if you really want to get with that, right? You've got to find some way to compensate for that. You know how women like to say, oh, he's compensating. He must have a little wee-wee. Or look, he has short man's disease because he's 5'5" and that's why he's jacked. Yeah, but he is jacked. And most guys are not. So if you're in great, as you say, you're in great physical shape, you can do one of two things. You can find some way to make up for that deficit because 5'5", you are under the average height. Average height of American male is 5'9". But that's not a guarantee. Okay, that's not a guarantee for getting laid. That's not a guarantee for a fun, satisfying relationship till death do you part and happily ever after either. So what advice would you give to me? Get on the rack and have them stretch you until you become 5'10". Like what else am I supposed to say? The best thing that you can do is stay positive, stay on top of your game. You've got to, I'm sorry, but those are deficits. If you're fat, that's a deficit. You're shorter than the average male, which is 5'9". You're shorter than that, you have a deficit to cover. If you are skinny, get jacked. If you are poor, get some more money on you, okay? You don't have to do it for the girls. You do it for yourself, right? You do it because you want to be the best version of yourself that you possibly can be. But you have a deficit. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, game, looks, and affluence. Affluence, I mean status, money, that kind of stuff. Game, status, game, affluence, and looks. Have three. If you can have all three, that's the best, right? Obviously. You're good looking, you're famous, you're got some money, and you've got game, and you're the guy that other women want to bang and other guys want to be. That'd be great if we could all have all three. Most guys don't get that. Have two, at least two of those. Game, looks, great. Game, money, great. Money, looks, great. Okay, you're going to cover deficits when you do that. 5'5" is a deficit. How are you going to cover that? Gerard Parker, my girlfriend saw my message that I sent to my coworker in response for her saying she missed me. And I response, I miss you too, without any maliciousness. She got something. Thanks, Gerard, for that inspiring post. RB Cooper said, how to see and pass comfort tests. I suck at these. Okay, well, I'll talk about comfort here in just a second. RB, I will get to that today. That's actually in my notes today, so hang tight. Jeff D, keep up the good work. Thank you. I will do my best. And this is Sean Coombs again. Have you read any works by Kierkegaard? Yeah, when I was in college. I think you'd enjoy his insights on marriage and Christianity. Okay, thank you. It's been a while. I think I had to read that at university. That was the last time I read Kierkegaard. Hey, Rollo, thank you for doing God's work. You're welcome. Since hypergamy evolved and spread the genetics of top men to weed out the genetics of losers, then could it be argued that it benefits our species? Yes, I keep saying that. Hypergamy is. It just is. It's not bad and it's not good. It's just what side of the sharp stick are you on? Hypergamy, like the other thing that guys will say is like, well, Rollo, if only alphas are breeding, then every guy would be alpha. And my answer to that is yeah. And you're the result of at least some guy who successfully either was tricky enough and sneaky enough to get around the hypergamous filter and reproduced with your mom and your grandma and your great grandma and your great great grandma. Somebody figured that out well enough, whether through, trickiness and cleverness, or that they were just jacked and that was the best thing, or it was a societal thing, whatever. You're the result of all of that. So if you're checking out, or you're saying, well, I'm a genetic loser, I'm never going to reproduce. Well, then you're not, you're the end of the line. You're the failure that all of the guys that came before you, your dad, your grandfather, blah, 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 all of them succeeded at. And you're going, no, I don't want to do it. Okay, well, thanks. All those guys that tried to get you to where you're at right now, maybe they're gone. I don't know. But you're opting out. Okay, good for you. But yeah, hypergamy is not a straitjacket, and it's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It just is. How you use that to your advantage or how you wallow in your own self misery is up to you. So, what did you say? Indian in US, 6'1", jacked. If that's your picture, but don't get one plate. Read your GSMV essay. I feel no matter what I do, I'm 80%. I'm in the 80%. Even Aziz gets me too. Thoughts. Yeah. Well, so here's the deal is, yeah, there you can be, I thought about this when I was running the dogs today, and I've seen guys who go from like hero to zero. I've seen guys who go through being like fat dudes who become bulked out guys who go from zero to hero, right? They go from being a beta to what they think is alpha because they put on muscle, and women start giving them the time of day because they think that those guys who used to be fat guys or used to be sort of loser guys now changed their lives. If you are jacked, if you are built, if you have a dedication, if you're in the gym all the time, and I'm not even saying like I go to the gym, but I'm not like shooting tren or anything like that. I'm fairly in shape for my age. I feel like I certainly outshine, let's see, 60 to 70% of guys my age, because those guys are fat. They're overweight or obese, most of them. And I wish I had better news for you. I don't. But if you are in if you're even in normal weight, you are above half, maybe even 70% of most guys. I don't know how it is in India, but here in the United States, that's for damn sure. You're 6'1". Well, women are going to have a certain expectation of you. Again, it comes down to congruency. So when I see guys who go from like being fat to being in shape, and they go, Rollo, I still can't get the girls. Well, the reason for that is because you didn't change here. You changed here. You changed your body, and women, you might even be getting laid more, but you're not getting what you want. Then I can't meet any quality women. I can't meet any girls who are intelligent enough to hold a conversation with me. Well, the reason for that is because you're probably still thinking like a beta. You may have put yourself into what was stereotypically an alpha body, but you still have a beta mindset. You still have that beta brain. And that takes time. You have to get that congruency naturally anyways. It takes a long time, and most guys don't get it unless they are educating themselves, unless they have someone who is sort of a mentor to them. If they say, well, you know what, dude, you're in better shape now, and you look good, and you're making money, and you're a different person. You basically become a different person from a societal sense and from like sort of an outward sense, but your internal brain is still stuck in, I gotta appease women mode. I wouldn't want to hurt her feelings mode. I don't care about me mode. You still haven't made yourself your mental point of origin. So you might be jacked. You might have been the fat kid all your life, and suddenly you are good looking and you've made a lot of money, and women are into you. They certainly want to get with you on Tinder, but you can't make anything stick, right? Because you still think you need to make something stick. You don't have this. You don't have the killer instinct. You don't have that. You haven't killed the beta, basically. So look at what it is that you're doing and what your behaviors are and what your thought processes are, because that's really the source of your incongruency. Even the guys in RSD back in the day used to say that. They would be like, we got all these guys who would be so fucking money if they could just think differently about themselves. And so that's why they always tried to start with that when it came to game, is like, believe that you can do this. Most guys don't. Most guys don't want to do that because they're still stuck in nice guy mode. They're stuck in the idea in scarcity mode, first of all, but they're in scarcity mode because they fear losing. They fear the loss. They fear that if they get with the girl who is the best girl that they could ever get with, that they'll screw it up in some way. And as a result, they stumble all over themselves. So again, I really need to do I got to write this down. I really need to do a full episode, or maybe even an essay on congruency and how that works. Because a lot of guys, especially in the black pill, want to go, oh, what does he mean by congruency? And I will say, I'll show a picture of like this big bodybuilding dude in like a tutu or a bikini or something like that. And it like throws them off. Like, what's he doing this for? Is he gay? No, what I'm doing is giving you an example of incongruency. You've got a guy who's like jacked and looks like he's a bodybuilder and looks like he's the stereotypical, like if you took Giga Chad and you put him in like a slingshot bikini and you put lipstick on him and you start acting real fey and everything like that, that's incongruency, because women and guys expect that guy to be Giga Chad. That they expect that dude to have his shit together so much, because only a guy that looks like that would have that personality. That's the way we would think about that guy. And when he doesn't, that's incongruency. And we go, whoa. That's what guys try to say. Well, he's good looking, but he's probably gay. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to instill the idea of incongruency in a woman's head, because they know that the guy who's hot is going to turn them on, and they have to find some way to disqualify him. How do you do that? You'd say he's incongruent. He's good looking, but he's gay. He's not interested in actually heterosexual sex. He likes other dudes. So you should go with me because I am the heterosexual guy and I can make you laugh, baby. And she's still looking at, Giga Chad because she wants to get laid with that guy. But that's the first intrasexual combat that most guys do. Like certainly betas do this with alphas, is they try to tear those guys down. They try to form coalitions with other betas. That's what male primates do, like monkeys and chimps and whatever. Is they form coalitions to tear down the existing alpha male. It's the same thing with human beings. Human beta males do exactly that same thing. And how do they do that? Well, they can't go kick his ass because they probably get killed, but they will try to say any females that might want to be part of Giga Chad's harem, they'll go, you don't want to get with him. He's a bad bet for your future, because he's actually into guys. He actually he's not into you. Disqualify him from the sexual marketplace. That's the most basic, pragmatic, really in some cases the only way that beta men can have any chance, is to say that guy has some sort of incongruency. Well, when you do that to yourself, you don't need beta males to do that. You're just a chump. You went from hero to zero, or zero to hero back to zero again, because you haven't got it out of your head, or you haven't learned enough to actually know that ego is not the enemy. You have to actually have an ego to exist. And it's okay to think about yourself first. It's okay to make yourself your mental point of origin. It's okay to be judgmental. All that stuff. Most guys will never get that. So you can go, again, it's the idea of like Captain America or Spider-Man, right? You get bit by the radioactive spider, and wimpy, skinny Peter Parker turns into powerful Spider-Man. And with great power comes great responsibility. We have to teach them that, right? But what you're looking at is a guy who goes from being powerless to being powerful overnight, but he still has the mentality of the powerless kid that he used to be. Well, that makes him the hero with the heart of gold. Well, maybe it makes for a good story, but it illustrates the point of incongruency. So you have wimpy Steve Rogers, who goes into the super chamber and takes the super sauce and comes out Captain America. He still has good, heart of gold, white knight, pure as the driven snow mentality, but he's in a body that he didn't have before, that he just got because he took the super sauce, right? That's the fantasy, is to be that dude who was powerless and wimpy and still have that. And the reason why that's a fantasy is because it's incongruent. Oh, I would just be the same guy. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Eventually, you know, if you lived your entire life, you did all the work that you had to do to be super, to be extraordinary, that changes you in your personality as well. That's why. That's the difference between congruency. What'd you say? AAC says, hey, can you expand on the Madonna whore complex? I can, but I actually have written an essay about that on the Rational Male, and it would be easier to simply have you go search that up. Go look it up. It's actually called the Madonna whore complex. It's on my site. Look at that. Therationalmale.com, in the search engine, just put up Madonna whore. When you talk about looks, you say that you need congruency with it isn't the same if you're beta and act like an alpha. That's incongruency and repulsive. Now, what you're worried about, Asanji, is you're worried about authenticity. And I'm going to talk about that here in just a second, because when I talk about authenticity, and a lot of guys have made this their grift, Asanji. In fact, I'm going to let you sort of get me back into today's topic here, because I kind of been distracted. Is there anybody else? Let's see. Okay, yeah, I caught up at least that far. So Asanji, this is the deal. What you're getting into is most guys like to play on what's authentic. What's it like to be an authentic man? Like apex of masculinity or pinnacle of a man, or you'll see guys do this all the time, especially right now. And if you read my book, if you read the 4th book right now, I talk about this in the section where I talk about the hustle economy. And one of the things that I think, I think one of the greatest things about like the Rule Zero crew, like myself and John and Ryan and Rich and Troy, is I like to think that we have a down to earth kind of, like I said, nuts and bolts pragmatism about masculine authenticity. And I'm glad you brought this up, because this is part of my notes here. It's the just be yourself dynamic. And I've got, if you've read book 1, you'll know what I'm talking about, because there's a chapter in there called Just Be Yourself. Just Be Yourself, it used to be, I don't know if it's still quite as popular as it is now, or was then. Just Be Yourself is what most guys and girls would say to sort of like the gamma males or the beta males when they're feeling down or depressed. Or if a beta guy or a gamma guy tried to get with a girl and she had to give him the let's just be friend, like, oh, I just want to be your friend. Can we just be friends? You know, I don't see you like that. I think of you as a brother. When guys used to get the LJBF, let's just be friends, rejection, I wrote probably 3 different essays about how that is actually a rejection, and you need to accept it as a guy. You need to accept that as a rejection. But the reason why guys don't want to get that, or they want to think that, oh, there's really a chance, right? The reason why is because they usually are given a false sense of hope by the girl that they try to get with, or their friends. Generally, when you hear a guy tell another guy, just be yourself, and women will flock to you. You got to be authentic. You got to be yourself. But that's usually what that means, is a guy or the woman who's telling you that don't have any other idea. They don't know why, or they don't want to break your heart, right? They don't want to tell you you're fat and you're a nerd. They don't want to tell you that because they're your friend. You know, they don't want to hurt your feelings. In fact, one of the reasons why women give you the let's just be friends rejection is because they don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't like when I have talked to guys about the let's just be friends rejection, I say you have to see it as a rejection, because if you accept that, if you say, okay, oh, sure, we can be platonic friends. I'm a guy, I'm a progressive kind of thinker. We can be friends until she gets with Giga Chad, and Giga Chad starts mate guarding her, or she just simply doesn't want to have anything to do with you because Giga Chad's more engaging and she'd rather be fucking him instead of talking to you, or she doesn't need the emotional tampon because now she's almost there locking down the guy that, you know, the alpha male that you're not. But she doesn't want to hurt your feelings. And so that's why you get the let's just be friends thing. And you'll also get the just be yourself thing from guys. Just be yourself. Okay, well, the problem with that is just being yourself doesn't get you laid. It doesn't get you that girl. It doesn't get you the success that you want. And I'm not saying this just in a sexual sense. I'm saying this like in a life sense. At some point, like, you can be a fat slob loser and be just happy with who you are. Or you can say, I'm not getting what I want out of life. A lot of guys who are in the Lost Boys generation right now, who are looking for the dad they never had, who are looking for direction, who are looking for regimen, who are looking for regularity and a direction, saying, go west, young man. They're looking for Jordan Peterson or me or Jocko Willenick. I hope I said that right. Or, whoever as the dad they never had. The reason that they're looking for that is because whatever they're doing is not really where they want to be in life. Great. That's discontent. That's the good news. You're discontent. Fantastic. When you turn it to destructive, when you try to solve discontent destructively, then you're probably going to end up being a drug addict, right? Or being a loser or being a criminal or whatever it is. When you take that discontent and you work it constructively, that's really tough, because it means you are saying, what I've been doing, the way I've been living my life hasn't been giving me the results that I want to have, and therefore I need to change. And that's tough today, because at no other, and particularly in this era, the last 50, 55, maybe 60 years, we have told everyone, man and woman alike, because we treat men like they're women anyways, we have told them that they shouldn't be so hard on themselves. They shouldn't be so judgmental of other people. I mentioned this in book 4 as well. When I make the case that the emotionalism that we are seeing today, society-wide, like Western culture, Western society that's being sort of exported globally right now, one of the main messages is, first of all, follow your heart and prioritize emotion above everything else. But as a result of that, you're also not allowed to judge. You're not allowed to judge anyone, and you're not, God forbid, you're allowed to be hard on yourself or judge yourself. And so when I see these guys who don't understand masculinity and they're like, oh, I had to be more vulnerable and more in touch with my feelings. All you're telling me is that you want to be more like a woman, and you think that the way that women do emotion, the way that women do their life is preferable to the way that you've been screwing up your life for now. If you just were more vulnerable, if you're just more emotional, if you're just more, open and open communication and all this other stuff, right? That maybe is like, why wasn't that your natural default in the first place? Well, it's society. No, it's not. It's because you're a guy and you see the way that women do emotion is the correct way to do emotion. So that's part one. The other part is this, is that when you are hard on yourself, when you're judging yourself, you're saying to yourself, I don't like who I am right now and I want to be somebody different. And that's hard to do when probably your entire life you've had people saying, oh, don't be judgmental. Don't be so hard on yourself. Just be yourself. I just want to be your friend. Well, I didn't want to be your friend. I wanted to get laid. I wanted to have you as a girlfriend. I wanted to have babies with you. That I don't see you as a friend. I see you as a lover. How come I can't do that? Well, I don't see you like that. Well, that means one of two things. Either there's something wrong with the girl or there's something wrong with you. Those are the two choices that you have. There's something that is not making that connection with the women that you want to get with, or the life you want to have, or the job you want to have, or the business you want to have, or the family you want to have, or whatever it is that you want for yourself. It's one of two things. The system, the game is screwed, or you're screwed. What is it? I put this is in my notes here. It's really towards the bottom, but I'm going to talk about it now. It's change the game versus master the game. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. I'm sure you've heard this before. I've put this in books before, and and this is a quote, and I can't remember where I got the quote from. But don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Don't pray for an easy life, pray for the strength to weather this one. Now, what does that mean? And I hate to go wax philosophical here, but what does that mean to the individual? What does that mean to, and in this case, guys, what does that mean to the individual guy? Well, I'll tell you what it means to women here first, and then we'll get to what it means to guys, okay? For women just are, and men must become. This is the difference between men and women. Men have to become. We have a meritocracy. Our respectability as men is based on what we merit. Are you a respectable person? Do you respect Rollo Tomassi? Why? Well, because he did these books and he did okay, well, then you can at least point to what I've done, and whether it's, I don't care what it is. Like, you call me a son of a bitch. I don't care. He's not respectable because of these things. Okay, that's fine. But you have to at least say, well, why is that? because of a merit hierarchy, right? You call it a dominance hierarchy, but you can also call it a competence hierarchy. And I know that Jordan Peterson tried to make a distinction between those two. I think that a competence hierarchies is really more for the beta side of the spectrum, whereas dominance hierarchies is more for the alpha side of the spectrum. I'll explain why here in a second. But when it comes to men becoming something, it's usually based on merit. What did you do that I should respect you for? Why should I follow you into battle? Why should I work for your company? Why should I share the dream that you have? You want to build a bridge? Why should I care? Well, do you know how to build a bridge? Did you study how to build bridges? Are you a bridge maker? Like, what is it that makes you somebody that is followable, that you want to share a direction and a vision for? What is it about you that makes me want to join your tribe, your family, your ideals, your values? What is it about you that is respectable? That is a masculine way of thinking about things. Is what is it merit-wise? What can you do? Competency. Are you competent in changing a tire, right? Are you competent in bodybuilding? Are you competent in building a business? Are you competent in thinking critically? There's lots of ways or lots of different competence hierarchies. Are you dominant? Are you somebody that is, that can be a leader? Are you somebody who can kick ass? Are you somebody that I would trust if people were trying to kill us because they're our enemies? Is that who you are? Or is that not who you are? Why do I want to follow you? Why do I want to respect you? What is it about you? Can you kill the caribou? Let's form a hunting party, leave the tribe for a day or so, go out and kill some caribou or woolly mammoth or whatever, and bring it back, and we'll have a feast when we get back. Why do I want to join your hunting party? Why do I want to be part of your tribe? Do I trust you? Do you get it? Do you just get it? If I give you shit, will you realize I'm not really actually telling you you're a piece of shit, but I'm just like fucking with you because you're a guy and I'm a guy, and I want to make sure that when the shit hits the fan, that we have each other's backs. Is that you? Are you a squad member? That's a dominance hierarchy, right? Are you more dominant? Are you more imposing? Do you have charisma, right? What's your charisma score? So those are based on really mastering the game. Or are you the guy who wants to change up the game? Now, here's the difference between men and women when it comes to the game. I think I've given this illustration before. When the WNBA came about, and this was back in, I think, the late 90s or early 2000s. Maybe it was early 2000s. I can't remember when the WNBA started. Nobody wanted to watch. Nobody cared. In fact, even a lot of team sports, female team sports, still have this problem today. Like female soccer is really a tough sell. Like, you can't make money off of female soccer because they don't play to the same level that male players do. So you can be into it, or maybe you're into like women's softball or the WNBA. But when the WNBA first came out, nobody wanted to go see the games because it was kind of boring, right? I mean, the ladies are doing it. We're supposed to be there because it's, the women are special, right? But it was boring and nobody wanted to buy tickets. Even women didn't want to buy tickets to this thing. And the reason for that is because women couldn't dunk. They couldn't get up that high. They could, even the women who were tall still couldn't dunk. I recall, I think it was an article called Life Below the Net when it came to the WNBA. And so as a result of that, they decided that there was a petition. I don't know if they did this or not, but there was a petition to lower the nets, to change it from 12 feet to 10 feet. I don't know what the height of a NBA official NBA net is, but whatever it is, they wanted to lower it so the ladies would have an easier time dunking. And we do the same thing when it comes to women in combat. We want to reduce the requirements for them to qualify to be a Green Beret or to be even just to be in a combat unit. We want to lower the requirements for that. We want to change the game. WNBA, change the game, because when you lower the nets, it fundamentally changes the game. When you make combat requirements to be a combat soldier, at least in the United States, right? You lower the requirements for that, you change the game. When you give special dispensation for women so that we can have equality of outcome, you change the game. Well, that fundamentally, like I said, changes the game. So you're not actually in that. And the problem is like when we do that enough times, and this is not just for women. I'm using this as an example, but it's easier to explain it like this. Or what is it like for firemen, like emergency personnel people? Like for firemen, we want more women who are firemen. Why? Because that's a prestige job and we need more women in there so that we can say women are making advances in society. Yeah, until they can't meet the physical requirements for that. Most guys can't either, just to be honest here. Like I think I read an article about how U.S. population right now is too fat to meet the fitness requirements for infantry or the army or whatever, even basic boot camp or something. So we got to trim down these people so that they can meet those requirements, or we got to change the requirements so they get people in, so we can have this army full of fat asses. So, but are we changing the game? Do you think that the guy who knows how to kill you cares whether you had, there's how many women are in this unit? Okay, well, I'll spare them because I'm changing the game. No, that's not gonna. Some games you don't change. Environment, you're the way you evolve. You're not going to change that game. And so that's the problem, is that guys will get into this idea that either they can master the game or they can change the game. For women, women are. Men have to become. And so when we create a society of men who think like women or who idealize this idea of that, female correctness or gynocentrism, and it's all about emotionalism and it's all about, prioritizing emotion before reason. We think that, we tend to get fat, we tend to get soft, we tend to get relaxed and comfortable because we're not trying to change ourselves. In fact, the idea of making ourselves better is offensive because it's all about what's on the inside, right? Jada Pinkett Smith, it's all about love. No, it's about what you did. It's about your thought, the way you're thinking, and it's about your behavior and everything else. It's not just about, it's all about love. No, it's you. Why did you do that? They don't even want to be self-analytical about that, because we have rationales, and usually those rationales are based in emotion. So how did I feel about this? Who cares? You did something. You cheated. You're cucking your husband, or maybe you're the guy and you're like, I don't want to be part of the game anymore. I'm going to go MGTOW. I'm going to be black pill. I don't want to. Okay, well the thing is the game doesn't change. You've just decided not to be a competitor in it, and you're going to go extinct. That's the path to extinction. The path to extinction is the black pill. The path to extinction is I know MGTOWs are different, right? I know MGTOWs have the going your own way. Okay, you go subjectively define that all you want and call me an asshat. But the thing is that if you're saying, I don't want to have anything to do with this, I'm all done, I'm just going to go live in a cabin in the woods, well, you're on your path to extinction. Seriously. You can get better, or you can try to change the game, or you can just simply opt out, and then you're basically opting out of pretty much everything. So, okay. So I talked a little bit. I talked about what a shit test is. We got to that. I talked about active shit tests. I've talked about passive shit tests. We got to that. I talked about dominance versus competency. We got to that. Oh, I also wanted to make this point too. All right, this is something that was not a side, but I have it in parentheses here. One of the things you have to remember when I talk about dominance hierarchies versus competence hierarchies, those are the result of women's hypergamous choices. So the reason why men tend to be interested in things or in novelty, right? And trying to think in different ways or trying to solve problems. Men are innate problem solvers, I should say. Now, women will say, well, I solve problems too. Not in the way that guys do. You don't have the same proclivity. You don't have the same innate drive that men have. We want a problem. That's why we communicate the way we do. Like when it comes to talking with one another, when it comes to communication, but from men, between men, we have to have a project. We have to have some sort of mutual goal, and then we communicate while we're trying to get to that goal. Why? Because we are problem solvers. We're innate problem solvers. You want to know why we have such a lack of masculine? We need more masculine men to take the responsibility. Why do you hear like Candace Owens complain about that, or PragerU, or whoever else? Why do you hear like men need to take more responsibility? Well, because men don't have any direction. They don't have any purpose right now. When Jordan Peterson like talks about, this is meaningful and meaning this and it's not meaning, asshat. It's about purpose. You have at least the last 2 generations, and I would argue maybe even the last 3 generations of guys are rudderless, right? They're purposeless. They don't know where they're going. That's why a guy like Jordan Peterson can make $80,000 a month on Patreon. That's why, people like my books. That's why people go and read Rich's books or Ryan's books or Aaron's books or whoever, right? They're looking for direction. Well, is my direction in here? Where do I go? If I ever write another book, and I'm not saying I won't, but if I do, it's going to be something that's going to give you some like sort of practical ideas of what you can do for your own purpose, like how to find your purpose. I can't tell you what your purpose is. I can't tell you like what's going to be like I can't give you the problems that you want to solve or you would be best aligned to solve yourself. But I do recognize this is that men are innate problem solvers, and we're in a society right now that doesn't have problems for us. Or if they are, they're problems that seem kind of like I don't know, fickle, right? They're meaningless problems, right? Well, my problem is I can't get the girl I want on OnlyFans. Okay, well that doesn't sound like a problem. That's like a first world problem. I can't get my coffee right. That's what I'm talking about. Like, guys want something more. That's why they get so locked into like sedations, like pornography or video games or whatever, drugs, let's legalize marijuana. Good idea for the 2 generations of purposeless guys. Let's make them even more purposeless. Let's make them more listless and lazy and lethargic. Good idea. And if they think that they should be hard on themselves, or they're not living their best life, or whatever, let's either discourage them to ever get themselves in the game, or let's try to change the game. Or let's tell the guys who are already hooked on porn and video games and social media themselves, and legal marijuana, vaping, whatever the fuck they're vaping these days. Let's tell those guys not to be hard on themselves and not to and not encourage them to be. They can't be judgmental. Certainly not of themselves or anybody else. And then you're the perfect guy. You're the perfect Jabba the Hutt, like amoeba, sitting in your chair, jerking off the porn, or with your headset on while you're doing Call of Duty. I don't know, whatever it is. That right there, when I look at that and I go, that's, you can say, well, I just don't know what I want to do. Well, the dominant side of that thing, that doesn't even factor in the competency hierarchy. Guys will say, well, I think right, and I do this and I do that, and I read, and okay, well, the fact is that you don't know what you're going to do with that. You don't know what problems to solve with that. You don't have those problems to solve. So when the meteorite hits, or the shit hits the fan, whatever you want to call it, maybe that will give you some purpose, but you're going to be completely unprepared for that. And I think woefully unprepared for that. But again, I'm not trying to be Jocko Willink or Willenick. God, who knows? Dan Blitzarian and Jocko Willenick. Blizzarian. Buzz Lightyear. I don't know. He looks like Buzz. So when it comes to dominance hierarchies and it comes to competence hierarchies, you have to remember that you're looking at 2 different sides of hypergamy when we look at how those come into being hierarchies in the first place. Dominance hierarchies tends to be the arousal side of hypergamy. Competence hierarchies tends to be the attraction side. So when women are shit testing you, when they're seeing if you just get it, they're not necessarily just testing you from one or the other. It could be both. So when I talk about an active shit test, it's usually like when you're meeting that girl for the first time, it's usually based on dominance. It's usually based on, is this guy as alpha as I think he is? When it comes to passive shit tests, it's almost always, is this guy the best I can do? I've already decided, I'm already hooked with this guy. I'm already married to him. I'm already in his frame, whatever. Is he really the best I can do? I made a bet on this guy that he's going to be a winner. Remember what Rich Cooper said, women they don't care about the struggle. They just wait at the finish line and they fuck the winners. Well, not all women can do that. And so what they do is they lock into the guy that they think is going to be a winner in the future. And if he doesn't turn out to be the winner, or not quite the winner that she wanted him to be in her ideal world, the ideal world being the guy who can give her the security, the long-term security that she needs. And again, why? Because women's sexuality and their sexual agency is perishable. So later in life, it's all about, like, for most of a woman's life, it's all about security. For where you want to bang that girl, it's all about arousal, and it's all about, giga chat. But usually, I mean, remember, I was saying in the other, I realize I'm jumping around here, but in the other video, about sexual market value when I was making the point that when a woman is 23 years old, she's at the peak of her sexual marketability, right? Her SMV is at its peak. She will never be as hot as she was when she was 22, 23, 24 years old. She'll always be looking backwards at that. Even if she's hot when she's 34, she'll still be looking back at that as the prime. So when you look at that and you look at a woman's life, let's say a woman, average lifespan of a woman is, let's say, 90 years. Okay. Now I'm being generous here. 90 years. Of that 90 years, she may spend not even 10 of it at her sexual market value prime. So what that means is that for the rest of those 80 years, I'll just give her 10. The rest of those 80 years, she's looking for long-term security. Babies, family, sex, yes. And is this guy going to be the guy who I can go the distance with? I mean, that's the way we're supposed to do it, right? It might be multiple guys, right? But it could be that one dude. Well, that is where the security side of it is based on. And that's also where competency comes in. So that's how you get competency hierarchies. So you must become. You've got to be taller. You've got to be stronger. You've got to be richer. You've got to be more intelligent. You've got to be more educated. Again, Heartiste, 436 bullet point checklist. All of these. Go look at any woman's dating profile. This is the guy for me. I don't want any game players. You got to be this, and blah, 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 blah. And usually prioritized in order of importance, right? So you've got all of these requirements and standards that women have. And if you don't even, now again, this is what they state. I'm not saying all women stick to this. They'll go with whatever works the best for them. But in their heads, this is the perfect man is this laundry list of characteristics. Most of those characteristics beyond the sexual and beyond the good looking part is based on competency hierarchies. You got to be able to do these things. You got to be a good dad. You got to love your mom. You got to like puppies. You got to whatever. You got to be interesting. You got to be funny. You got to be this. You got to be that. And that's why I say men must become and women just are. Because most men don't have standards. In fact, we're not allowed to have standards. Again, going back to judgmentalism. If you have standards as a guy, you're a misogynist, chauvinist, 1950s caveman who is judgmental. And that's the worst sin in the religion of emotionalism. If you are judgmental of yourself, you're judgmental of women, then that is the cardinal sin, and we will ostracize you and excommunicate you from the church of emotionalism. You are bad. You men bad because you judge. You have standards. Men are not allowed to have standards. Women are. Simple as that. So that's, I wanted to make sure that you guys understand the difference between dominance hierarchies and competence hierarchies, but primarily those exist as a result of hypergamy. Alpha fucks, beta bucks. Alpha fucks for dominance, beta bucks for the security side, which is competence. So you got to have your shit together. You got to have a business. You got to be good with kids. You got to all those other things. So it's almost as if there's like when I was talking about the 436 point bullet point checklist that Heartiste puts out way back in the day. There's almost like two of those lists. There's the alpha seed, alpha fuck side, and then there's the beta buck side. And so what is it that's hot and what is it that's survival value? I think it was Mystery that said this. Women look for two things in guys, survival value, and they look for genetic value. Survival value would be competency. Can he, build another house? Is he good with his hands? Is he an electrician? Right? Is he in a STEM field? Is he creative? Because creative intelligence is selected for as well. That's one thing. The other side is he hot? Do I want to fuck him? Do I want to have his babies? And usually they never find that in the same guy. It's usually one or the other. Got it? Understood. But both of those are part of your burden of performance. And yes, it sucks. It sucks because you have to do this for the rest of your life. And that's really what's motivated guys to become bigger, better, become famous, to become inventors, to becoming something more. And hopefully leaving their mark on society, maybe leaving an invention behind, maybe changing the world in some way before they go. But the way they got there was motivated by this, by up here and down here, right? It was, how do I solve that? How do I get to that point? How do I stay creative? I'm discontent. How do I change the world? How do I master the environment and the game that I'm in right now? And then once I've done that, how do I change? What do I leave? Right. So there's that. Burden of performance I talked about. Why do women feel, oh, this was a good one. Why do women feel unloved when a man lacks ambition? I got that. I was doing my research for this show, for the today's show notes, and I was looking at this and I came across this quote. In fact, maybe I'll just read it to you. It's in the competency hierarchy. No, I'm sorry. This is from, and you'll find this in the links below. This is just a really brief thing I picked up. It's in an essay I wrote called Love and Ambition. It's not in any books. It's on the Rational Male. The link is in the description below. So it's like let's see. I don't know if I should read this whole thing, but I'll read you the quote. When men get lazy, women actually feel discarded. Like, this is coming from like a psychotherapist. This isn't me writing. I quoted somebody else. When men get lazy, women actually feel discarded. The pain and love is real. The pain and the love is real. It isn't so simple as jaded men think. Again, this is psychobabble, right? That women are bloodthirsty, gold-digging monsters. The female design feels unloved and devalued when her man is not on fire for his own life. I thought that was an interesting quote. And again, that's from Love and Ambition. That's one of mine. And it inspired this idea, like, why is it that women say this? They feel unloved when you're not on top of your game. If you're like always wallowing in self-pity. One reason why I say that vulnerability is horseshit is this dynamic right here. Well, I do what she told me to do. I'm open with, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I followed my heart. Well, if your heart is not, if you're giving up on your ambitions and you're giving up on the direction for your life and you make her the center of it, she will not be the center of it for very much longer. That's from Royce's 16 Commandments of Poon. If you make her your sun and your moon, she will not be that way for much longer, because women want to associate and attach their own lives to a man who has a worthy direction. They're looking for the guy who has ambition. Again, why is that? Well, because the guy he scores high on the dominance hierarchy and he scores high on the competence hierarchy. As a result, that guy thinks about himself. That guy makes himself, the guys who are the most successful dudes that you know right now, to the point of being like sociopaths, all make themselves their mental point of origin. I know that sounds bad, because a lot of guys will go, well, sociopathy is bad. Yeah, it can be taken to that extreme, taken to the extreme where it's like nobody else exists. Guys can be solipsistic. They can learn to be solipsistic. Women are innately solipsistic. Men can certainly learn to be solipsistic and narcissistic as well. But where that comes from, the guys who are the most successful guys, and at least in my experience, and the guys that I've worked with at like casino GMs, and the guys who are in the liquor industry, and a lot of guys who I've worked with and worked for, the guys who make the most money and the guys who are movers and the shakers, I guess, and whatever those industries are, tend to be the guys who are single-minded, and they sort of push everything else out of their orbits, because they're about themselves. And you say, well, that's dark triad. Yeah, and that's attractive. A capacity for violence, attractive. Ambition, attractive. Because women want to see he's really single-minded about that. And they'll complain and cry and whine all day long about, why you never spend any time with me, you never do this. But they're happy to go spend your money, but they will get pissy and moan. And what was it? Chris Rock has that bit where you can't satisfy a woman. Even if you have a diamond dick, right? You can't satisfy a woman. There's no human way for a male human being to satisfy a woman, because as soon as you do what she wants you to do, then she loses respect for you. As soon as you do what you want you to do, and you're single-minded about that, well, then you're a selfish prick. So there's no way to win. So I think what the joke was is like, well, if you do everything she wants you to do and you're there and you're supportive and everything, then you're clingy and emotional, and it's just too much for her. And it's like, why are you all up under me? That whole thing. And then if you're not around, and if you're at work and you're trying to further your own ambitions, and you're dedicated to your purpose, then you become a sociopathic asshole who's not good with the kids and whatever. The guys who are the most, that's, dark triad right there. The guys who are the most successful when it comes to like making money, making muscle, making, whatever, those guys are single-minded about it. They're certainly make themselves their mental point of origin. And that's attractive to women, because that's the guy who has competency, and he's also dominant. He doesn't care what you think. He doesn't care what that woman thinks. That's where I think a lot of black pill guys go wrong, and maybe MGTOW to a lesser extent, is they think that the more indifferent they are, the more attractive they're going to be. And that's not, if you're unattractive and you're a dork and you're a gamma male, you can sit over in the corner and wait till your ship comes in until you're dead. If you want, as I said before, like in the Dancing Monkeys show, it's you can be do triple monkey backflips or whatever the fuck it is, right? Okay, well, if you want to be in the game, if you want to master the game, you got to play the game in the first place. Simple. You say, well, I'm going to go and dedicate myself to my vision and my passion and everything. Good. But as a result, you're going to pick up women along the way. You can't just be idle. You can't just sit on your thumbs all the time. You've got to have a direction and a purpose. And that usually should be as the result of you being your own mental point of origin. So the reason why women feel unloved when a man lacks ambition is because that is a challenge to her security. When that guy when a man looks to a woman for security, that puts her in the masculine perspective. When a guy is like, he's like what we would stereotypically call the soy boy, that guy, the guy who's the cuck, right? The guy who wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's an emotional guy. He's just this tortured artist, right? He's this emotional soul. That guy is incompetent, and women pick up on that. That's why they feel unloved. Because if you were really competent, you'd be about yourself and you'd be doing the things that are going to, and at the cost of, sometimes at the cost of your family, of her, of whatever it is. You have to be single-minded about what you're doing. I'll give you an example from my own life, right? If I want to be successful, I've got to dedicate myself to writing a book. If I want to be successful, I have to dedicate myself to whatever it is that I'm doing. Maybe I'm putting together a new liquor brand. Maybe I'm writing another book. Maybe I'm doing a promotion. Maybe I'm doing a gig, right? I mean that in a sense, like I'm going to, work for a casino or whatever. I'm doing shows, right? I have to be dedicated to that. I have to go straight ahead. And sometimes that's like, sorry, I got to work 60 hours. And it's not that, oh, well, I'm proud of working 60 hours. I'm proud of the fact that I'm focused on one thing. Sometimes it takes 60 hours. Sometimes it takes 4 hours. Sometimes it takes a year when you talk about writing a book. And, as a result of that, you have to make sacrifices. And most women don't understand the sacrifices that men have to make until they have to make them themselves because they decided they wanted to be men. But that single-minded focus, and most guys, and let me just tell you this, this wasn't something I was going to talk about, but I'll just give it to you here really quickly. Most guys don't realize the level of sacrifice that they have to make to be extraordinary. What does it take for a guy, and you guys maybe you want to answer this in the comments, whatever, chat, I don't care. What does it take for a guy to go from being ordinary to being extraordinary? I don't think most guys, and particularly in Western cultures, really have any grasp of that. What does it take to be the best of the best? Talent, yeah, I'm sure a natural talent, I would say, but it takes perseverance, it takes drive. And most guys today do not have that drive. And even if they had that drive, even if they had that success, they've lived out and been conditioned into this mindset that says, well, you shouldn't judge. Right? So even if you have great success because of that drive, you're still at every turn told that you shouldn't be so proud of yourself. You shouldn't be so full of yourself. Ego is the enemy, right? You shouldn't be thinking like that. It's all about what's on the inside that counts. Fuck that. You should be proud of your achievements if you have that level of drive. Most guys don't. They don't have that fire. They don't have that single-mindedness because they're afraid of what they might become if they had it. They're afraid, and I hate to use that term because a lot of guys, especially in the sort of the masculinity market, oh, you're afraid of success. No, you're not afraid of success. You're afraid of who you'll become once you have that success. That's why you don't get to that success. It's not. And again, I'm not a motivational guru. I'm not Tony Robbins. I'm telling you how to get successful. I think that a lot of guys, they don't have the drive because they don't have any grasp of what they have to do, like how much they have to bleed. How much they have to sweat, how much they have to do it night after night after night to be whatever the best of the best, to master something. They don't realize like the hustle that it takes to go from ordinary to extraordinary. Guys, right now, I said like, was it, in the American public is 70% of the American public is overweight. I think it's maybe even more than that. What does it take for you to go from being a fat ass to being even normal weight? Yeah, maybe you just need to stop eating like a pig. Maybe you need to get in the gym. Maybe you need to do whatever you got to do. But that gets you to one level. What do you have to do to get to the extreme? And I'm just using physique here. It could be anything. But like, what does it take for you to be a Mr. Olympia? What does it take for you to be, where you want to be? What does it take for you to be Giga Chad, right? What is that? Most guys will never get to that point. We're talking about like the 80-20 rule. We're talking about like the 1%. What does it take to go from ordinary to extraordinary? I don't think guys really have a grasp of that. And most guys will never have a grasp of that. And I probably don't even have a grasp of that. But depending on what it is, but it takes so much. And most guys just would rather opt out than actually have to try to do something like that, unless they have a really great natural talent. Let's see. I talked about male meritocracy. Change the game. Yes, I did. When men are in the capacity. Oh, okay. So I talked about violence, respect and respectability. I got to that as well. So I will answer. Wow. Am I actually getting ahead of myself here? I am. So I'm going to pick a few of these here and we'll just continue going down the way. And don't worry, Aiden, I'm going to get to your question here in just a second. Actually, I'll do it here in a minute. Darko, why is this community not focusing on different ways to approach besides cold approach? I don't talk about cold approaching. I talk about approaching, but like such as there are ways to meet women where they come first to you. Yes, if you're extraordinary, if you're the guy that naturally draws women to them. I'll tell you why. Because for the most part, like when we talk about the 80-20 rule, I think a lot of guys get pissed off at me when I say that because they want to say it's more like 10-90. Okay. But you also have to take into consideration what a woman's sexual what she perceives as her sexual market value versus what the guy she wants to get with, his sexual market value. Royce wrote a good post about, it's called Women's Standards Crumble When, in the face of necessity or something like that. And he gave this illustration one time about some girl he knew who was, fairly attractive. He says, I think she was a 7.5 or an 8 on his scale, and how she was talking to her friends and how the only guy for her was going to be the dude who had these qualities, and he had to be a good looking dude, and he had to be jacked, and he had to be funny and educated and blah, blah, blah. And then like 2 weeks later after this, she introduces her new boyfriend to her social group. And he's good looking, but he's not like jacked like she said 2 weeks ago. And, he's not quite the surgeon that she was demanding, but he was, going to school, learning about something, right? He still had some like potential. And I think that and it's easier to do now in the digital age because we see this like black and white right in front of our faces 24/7. You can go look this up right now if you want. You're online, you're watching this. You can probably go find an example on Tinder or Twitter or whatever, any social media of some girl who is upset that she can't meet Mr. Right. And she has such high standards, like way beyond what we would see as her own sexual market value. And we think, doesn't she know she's only a 7.5? She's asking for the guy who's a 10, perfect 10. He's got to have all these things. And so as a result, guys go, well, all women are like that. And they have these astronomical, unrealistic expectations and entitlements to the right guy. And maybe that's right, because if you read book 4, I quote in there this study by Morgan Stanley about the rise of the she economy and how by 2030, women who are the working age or prime, I think I want to say prime working age, 25 to 44, over 50% of them will be single and will be never married and never have any kids. And Morgan Stanley and I think Forbes as well are planning for an economy where 50% of the women are single And how can they market best to them? And how can they make money off of them? Because women are the primary consumers in Western societies. They control the wealth. They may not make as much as men, but they control more wealth than men do. So they're controlling the wealth that men make and that they make as well. Uber Facts had the same thing. It was worldwide, women earn $18 trillion and are accountable for spending, for allocating and spending $28 trillion, an extra $10 trillion. I could show you the stats for that. Go look it up. It's on Uber Facts. I saw that. So that's insane. How come, the women complain about the 77 cents on a dollar and the gender pay gap and all this other crap? It's like, yeah, well, they may, if that is true, it's mainly because of the choices that women make when it comes to careers. You can find any number of studies and any number of YouTube videos that will debunk the gender pay gap in no uncertain terms, but we still cling to that because it feels good. It makes women victims. It makes women love the victim narrative. They will always love the victim narrative because they are innately predisposed to that, because they're the vulnerable sex. They're always a victim. Even when they're not the victim, they're always the victim. Societally, legislatively, legally, police-wise, monetarily, you name it. But yet women earn 18 trillion and they spend 28 trillion, an extra $10 trillion. Are they really the victim? Or are they really, is it the power behind the throne kind of thing? So when it comes to making approaches, you can talk about this till you're blue in the face, man. I mean, Darko, whatever. Are there better ways to meet women? Maybe. How? Through your social game? Okay. How else? I'm open. I'll be happy to talk to you about that. What else should we be talking about? Should we be talking about how to meet girls at Bible study? I don't know. Oh, you gave me an example. Let's see. Darko. I was a dance instructor. We did marketing and got groups of 50 plus girls. A good bunch approached me after the class. A good percentage were interested. Well, good. I agree. I think that where there's an over reliance on digital media when it comes to dating, because it's easier, it's simpler. You want to know why we, like this generation, maybe the Gen Z and Gen Millennials, are in such dire straits and purposeless and don't know what they're doing, or opting out of the sexual marketplace altogether, is because they just don't see why they should, they don't want to learn the social skills that they would need to do anything except what, digital media would have them do. It's a buffer. I warned against buffers as far back as, 2005. Yeah. Okay, good. I agree. I think that it is. Well, I think one of the reasons why PUA rubs a lot of guys the wrong way, at least in the MGTOW / doom pill, spurg pill, whatever you want to call it, it rubs them the wrong way is because they can't see themselves doing it. They can't see themselves actually trying to put it into practice. And maybe they're right. Maybe they shouldn't, because they would get shot down. They're accurate in their assessments because they realize they don't have the social skills to pull that off. So then you see guys who say, well, just go online, get your text game, tight, present yourself on Instagram differently. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying you shouldn't have an over reliance on that. Let's see. And don't throw me in with a community. I'm not a PUA. I'm not an MRA. I'm not a MGTOW. I'm red pill. That's it. I'm Hotep, right? That's what I'm Hotep. That's why, because I'm Hotep. No, I am red pill. I'm a red pill praxologist. So if you want to talk about issues like that, but don't say, oh, Rollo is a PUA. I'm too much of a PUA for spur pill, doom pill, black pill, MGTOW guys. And I'm also too much of a PUA for trad cons as well. Apparently, well, both for different reasons, but I guess that's what they want to lump me in. It's funny that anybody who doesn't like what you have to say, or any guy that says, hey man, try these things to make yourself more attractive, or maybe women will find you more attractive if you succeed or become the best version of yourself, or you become the authentic guy. I really need to do a show on being authentic, like the drive to be authentic. because authenticity is the biggest grift in this whole sphere right now. You're an authentic man. You got to grow a beard. Why doesn't Rollo have a beard down to here? Because I would look like Santa Claus. That's why. I would look like George Bruno if I grew my beard out and I didn't like color it or something. My beard has over the years. It's funny because it used to be more of like a mousy brown, and now it's kind of like in between. It's like salt and pepper, but I don't know. I don't like beards. I've been using the straight razor from my friends. What's this? When and if he'd give up his dream and be pragmatic in regards to his professional life. I have no idea what you're getting at, Lee, but I think I know what you're talking about. Let's see, when and if he should give up his dream. Okay, well, I think there is a lot of emotionalism that's tied up with dreams. Follow your dreams. We tell women that all the time. That's a Disney Pixar byline, right? Follow your dreams. Follow your heart. Go with a guy who really touches your heart. He usually looks like Giga Chad. That's the guy that touches your heart, but he touches your cooter. But the guy who touches your heart is this nice dude over here who's always been nice. He's competent, but he's not dominant. But I think that when we tie emotionalism to like, what's your dream? Like even calling it a dream. Like, oh, my dream is to own a business. My dream is to be a rock star. My dream was definitely to be a rock star for a long time. My dream is to like, I don't even know what my dreams are anymore, but I had ambitions and I still do have ambitions and I can define those. I want to be a good author. I want to be the best rollotomassi I can be. I want to, I've already been a very good father to my daughter. I'm very good husband to my wife, but it's not like that was like a byproduct, I think, of my ambitions and what it is that I want to do. The best thing that I did, I get this all the time. In fact, I had it on the show just earlier. Like guys will say, well, what advice would you give a guy who's 20 years old and blah? Okay, here's my advice, Mr. 20-year-old. First of all, you need to make yourself unapologetically your mental point of origin. Got it? Good. But you also need to make yourself and your ambitions and your goals, and don't call your dreams. Don't call it your dream. Call it your ambition. Call it your passion. I don't care what the hell you call that. Don't call it your dream. Dream is what I'm dreaming. It's not your dream. Because if it's a dream, it's something that's like, oh, my dream came true. That's what chicks say. Your ambition. You got a goal. You have a point. I'm going from here and I'm going to be over here. That's where I'm going to go. That's what I want to do. And it has to come as a result of, and I've said this before, it has to be as a result. Like the things that you have, your successes, chase you. Because you are going towards what you want to have. And I don't know. I don't know if Rich would agree with this. Maybe he would. But like guys who are like the motivational guys, like the Tony Robbins guys. And I'm not saying Rich is like that, but like guys who are like success is their kind of niche, like motivation. And this is, again, motivation isn't necessarily Rich, but like Rich Cooper is famous for saying like, do the work. It's on all his coffee cups, right? Do the work. Yes, good. But you got to have a goal. You got to have work to do. You got to know what you're going to do. What do you want to be? Do you want to be the best at, you name it? Again, why I don't give you prescriptions. That's why I don't know what you want to be the best at. I can give you tools. But when, and this is just me, this is personal. This is my opinion, my anecdote here is the successes and the achievements that I have had along the way, making me what I am now, 4 books later. And I can only use myself as an author on this show, but like I have other successes that you guys don't know anything about. But, the reason why I have the success with my marriage, or the success, if you want to call it that, right? The good things, like the achievement, like other guys would say it as a success, but like the achievements and the good things that I have with my family, my daughter, my wife, my dogs, my mother-in-law down in the unit below me right now. The reason why I'm glad that they can enjoy what they enjoy in their lives as a result of me going from point A to point B. Success follows me. I'm not, one of these days I'll have it. No, because I don't believe in contentment. I believe in discontent. And discontent is a good thing. Stick with it. Do it creatively. Have a point, have a purpose, have a goal, go where you're going to go. But as a result of that, success follows you. You don't follow success. It's because I think that when we make it a goal, when we make it an idealization, that's when it doesn't happen, or when it doesn't happen, it does happen, but it didn't happen the way that you wanted it to happen. Like a lot of guys, if they're born with a talent, or like Tiger Woods, right? Tiger Woods is a great golf player. Obviously the guy's going to be a champion because of his upbringing, and maybe his kids will be too. Who knows? Eddie Van Halen had a natural God-given talent, but he also had to work at it and had to do the things that he wanted to do. And he was creative. It wasn't like he goes, I'm going to be the best guitarist I can. No, he just was doing what he wanted to do and what really felt good to him, and his direction, right? Success will follow you. You have to be the one who's single-minded. You're not thinking about, I've said this before, is I would rather be writing a book than talking about writing a book. I would rather be doing what I'm doing right here, talking to you guys, or writing an essay or something, than being on somebody's show and go, what's your process for, how did you become Rollo Tomassi? Like, you're going to follow what I did? No, you're not going to do that. And it's pointless. I would rather be talking about ideas, and I would rather be focused on whatever it is that I'm like, in this case, it's shit tests and personal burden of performance. I would rather have somebody ask me, how did you come to the idea of burden performance? Okay, we can talk about that. But I would rather be moving on and building and doing something else. And then as a result of that, in my wake, it's like enlightened self-interest, right? I can't help others until I can help myself. Until I can't be as good as I am until I've put me as my mental point of origin. My family, my dogs, my mother-in-law, my friends, the people in my band, the people who I help, they don't do as well if I'm not the one who is like single-mindedly going and doing what I want to do. Sometimes that requires sacrifice. And sometimes you have to risk being called a jerk and an asshole. We talked about that. I remember back when, this is either a Lycus thing or it was something I read with Mystery, is like when a girl calls you a jerk, you're doing it right. When your friends say, you're trying to be something you're not, you're really turning into an asshole. Or guys will say like, oh, I worry about that Rollo Tomassi guy. He's trying to turn a generation of men into assholes. No, I'm not. Just the guys that are going and doing the things that they want to do, and they're going that direction, and they made themselves their mental point of origin, and they've given up on trying to be predictable like you would like them to be. I'm not turning them into assholes. You just think they're assholes because they're not predictable anymore. You just think they're assholes because they're actually focused on what it is that they want to do. And lo and behold, a lot of these guys end up not killing themselves, living better lives, having better education as far as the red pill is concerned, having the tools that they need for their success, and living in a red pill paradigm, and not worried about what you think of them, not worried about them fitting into your categories so that you can predict what they're going to do. That's petty to me anyways. I don't know. All right. I think I am going to, let's see. I got more, but I'm going to back up a little bit here. YOLO. How to know what women are testing for and when they are nagging. Okay, good point. Do they want dominance, frame, competency, comfort, love, sex, or something else? Okay. This is one of the reasons, YOLO, thank you for rejoining the conversation, my friend. I haven't seen you in a while. So a lot of guys will say this, and I know where the comfort thing comes from, because this is sort of a holdover from Mystery Method. Like, you got to make a girl comfortable and have rapport. And in the 3 parts of seduction, there was like attraction, comfort, and then the seduction part. That's like the 3 parts to the old school Mystery Method PUA. Got it. A lot of guys will say, well, if I did that, I would make my wife uncomfortable, or my girlfriend uncomfortable, or I wouldn't want to experiment, or I wouldn't want to rock the boat. I would say that when it comes to comfort, making a woman comfortable, most guys, the 80% of guys have no problem whatsoever with comfort. They are too comfortable. They make their girlfriends, their wives, the girls they want to get with, too comfortable. They're too predictable. They're too soft. They're stuffed animals, like I said. Don't worry about making a woman comfortable. Don't worry about that. Make her uncomfortable. Establish dread if you can. And I mean that in a passive sense. I don't mean like, oh, I'm going to make her. I mean like establish it in a sense, because dread implies value. Like if she fears losing you, or she fears losing the situation that she has with you, that's dread. And I don't mean that in like, oh, you got to make her nervous and anxious and like the sword of Damocles ready to fall over. That's what I mean. What I mean is there's a fear of loss. So I use dread for lack of a better term, but what I mean is like there has to be some sort of value to you. Like she values you so much that she wants to have your babies, but also that she wants to mate guard you, right? She fears losing her investment in you. There's nothing wrong with that. You can get unhealthy, yes, but there's nothing wrong with that. A good sense of, and I hate to use the term again, but it's dread, passive dread. Most women who are with guys have no worry whatsoever that any woman on planet Earth would ever want to fuck them, would ever want to steal them away. In fact, the only reason why they would get upset if their husbands or whatever are addicted to porn is because they look at that and they go, oh, I can't compete with that. They want to feel bad about themselves. They want to have at least some sort of like rationale for feeling like a victim. So comfort, don't worry so much about. Do women test for comfort? I don't think so. I think really when it comes to testing, like, because most guys they got comfort down, man. It is definitely down. Most guys won't experiment. When it comes to urgency, when it comes to value, when it comes to fear of loss of either investment and that investment can be competency or dominance. It can be like alpha fucks or beta bucks, whatever it is. Usually both. Most women realize that the guy that they're with, in a long-term sense, in an LTR, let's just say, realize that they're with a guy that, even maybe over time, he's not going to be the guy that other women want to get with. He's not going to be the guy that other men want to be. He's just comfortable and easy. That's where the comfort is. Stop putting such a high premium on comfort. And then, but nagging, let's get back to that real quick. I talked about this with Pat Campbell on some of the earlier shows where we talked, because Pat asked me this like a lot of times on his show and on my show. Why do women nag so much? Why are they passive aggressive? I actually have an essay that's still in my drafts folder on the Rational Male about women and passive aggressiveness and why women default to passive aggressiveness. I'm not saying men don't, but women, it's like sort of a natural default. It's a natural proclivity. Women because women want you to just get it, and they don't want to lean over into overt communication. They would rather stay in covert communication. That's why women are more passive aggressive than guys are. So if you can give me and ladies, when you see this, you'll be all pissed off. Oh, I can't believe you just said that. Here's my example. Show me a guy who you think is passive aggressive, and I'll show you a guy who is a bitch. I will show you a guy who acts like a woman. You will even say that. Well, he's such a bitch. He does, he's wishy-washy. He's incompetent, right? He doesn't get it. That's why women get upset with those guys. That's why you don't hear too much about guys being passive aggressive, although they can be when it comes to work or when it comes to like stabbing somebody in the back. But when a guy does that, we compare that guy to being a bitch. Why? Because that's a female trait, because that's what we expect from women, right? So when a guy is passive aggressive, we look at that as sort of like this sort of effeminate character flaw. For women, we almost expect it. Like, I can't believe she wants me to be a mind reader. Yeah, because she's passive aggressive. She defaults to passive aggressivity. And she doesn't say what you mean. Like, she will say something and, well, that's fine. Like, I'm sure you've heard that a million times. Or no, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Like blowing it off. When you know damn well it's not. What do you want for your birthday? Oh, nothing. What the fuck? Yeah, sure you do. Just tell me what you want. Like, guys would be like that. A communication error. That's one right there. What do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Christmas? Okay, guys, don't ask that question. First of all, go watch the episode I did about gifts and compliments. And I did that also with Pat Campbell first before you come throw rocks at me. But what I'm going to say is don't ask that question. Don't say, because when you ask that question, first of all, you bring that into, you're exposing the game. It's observing a process changes the process. What do you want for Christmas? What do you want for your birthday? Oh, nothing. I'm fine. What she's saying in passive aggressiveness is, you should know. You should just get it. What do you think? You don't pay enough attention to me. You don't know me well enough to know what I would want. Why don't you just go get me something that you think that I would want? And then I'll decide whether or not you are right or you're competent in understanding me and who I am and what I'm about. So keep that in mind, because when you ask those questions, like, don't ever ask a woman. First of all, don't ever ask a woman like what she wants for her birthday, what she wants for, go get it. Get her a bag of Skittles. Remember, it's not about the gift. It's about like her value of you. What's the desire? When it comes to romance, like I said before, you can give a woman a diamond ring and it'd be meaningless to her. And then you can give a woman a gum wrapper. You can make a ring out of a gum wrapper and put it on. It just depends on where you're at and what you're doing at that time. And that gum wrapper will be the most important thing in her. You'll die and she'll still have that guy. This is the gum wrapper ring he made for me. It was so romantic. We had nothing. It's not about the gift. It's about what was going on. It's about that time, the context of it. Like content, context, same thing. Nagging. Nagging is a passive shit test. I'll clear the air here, YOLO. Nagging is a passive shit test. Nagging is he the best I can do? It's passive aggressive for sure, as I was saying, but it is also based in the passive shit test, which is he the best I can do? If he was the best I can do, he would already know what to get me for my birthday. If he was the best I could do, then my girlfriends would want to fuck him and want to steal him away from me. If he was the best I could do, he would already have, fixed the toilet or mowed the lawn or done whatever the chore. He would have done everything on his honey-do list and I wouldn't have had to make the list. That's nagging. Why you never do this? My mom was right about you, blah, blah, blah. It's usually, is he the best I can do? And that's the existential fear for women, but it's also a hypergamous doubt. Is he the best I can do? So you want to know, this is good, YOLO. Why is it that why do women feel unloved when men lack ambition? Because the guy that is the best she can do should have that ambition. He should be the one that's driving towards that and not care about nagging and not care about that, because he knows that where he's going to end up, she's going to benefit from, because he went there. Again, enlightened self-interest. You benefit because I'm this way, because I am who I am. Women want to fuck me because of who I am. Men want to be me because of my ambition, because of where I want to go. So you can be part of this, you can be in this frame, or you can fuck the fuck off. So that's sorry, I didn't mean to get too deep into that, but I have done several episodes as well as essays on nagging. Passive aggressiveness. Man, you guys are hot in the chat today. I'm going to go backwards. Sorry. Leonardo says, what about the guys that are high in competence hierarchy and successful, but are anxious around women? How to get around that? What that is, Leonardo, is a lack of social intelligence. That is a lack of of how to play the game. So I would see this in two different ways. There's guys who are very good high on the competence hierarchy. What you've just described really is sort of the gamma male. It's the gamma male idea that I know how to do all these great things. It's the guys that will be like, I'm super intelligent. How come women can't appreciate my intelligence? Because intelligence, honestly, sorry to say this, is not sexy. You can't be a dumbass, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to be like, quote shit that you remembered or you memorized from the History Channel, or explain astrophysics or philosophy, or if you're going to be Stefan Molyneux, that if you think you're going to rattle off some of the stuff he does and still think women are going to find you like irresistible, you might be high on the competency side of things, but you don't get it. And women would rather you get it. They would rather you understand the nature of women and understand also the nature of the game and how to play the game. Again, women want to play the game. They don't want to be told that they're playing a game. So if you want to get with a girl and you want to play the game and you want to become intimate with them, whether that's sexually or that's just like you're going to have a long-term relationship, you have with the best of intents, right? You want to get in with the girl. Don't start with, here's what I learned about tanks on the History Channel, right? Here's what I know about history. Here's what I know about math. Here's what I know about you need to be able to play the game. And that's tough for guys right now. Guys don't realize that. I think you're too smart for your own good. I think Vox Day talked about this too. It's like the guys, there comes a threshold in IQ. Well, he calls it IQ, but there comes a threshold in IQ where too much is unattractive, but too little is also unattractive. You got to sort of like be in that. It's great to be smart. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't be freaking a genius. You should be great. I'm not saying you should be a dumb. Don't go the extreme. Don't go to buy, because I know people are going to do this. Oh, the ROLLO said we should be dumbasses. No, that's not what I'm saying. Be smart, but don't think that intelligence. Don't think that look at the big brain on ROLLO, right? That's not sexy, right? There's performance. There is getting it. There is being able to relate with her. There's playing the game. Play with her and play with her. And when you can do that, you're good. Like, so how do you get around that, right? So you're saying, well, I'm high on the competency hierarchy and successful, but I'm anxious around women. Well, why are you anxious? So what? Get good. You only learn that by doing. I think one of the biggest problems, and I think Myron Gaines would probably agree with me on this, is one of the biggest problems that most guys have today is they don't want to do it. It's too much. Like I think really this is a result of spending too much time online and too much time, instead of actually relating, talking. I don't say cold approaching, because then I'll get around the flagpole for that. But not cold approaching, being open to starting a discussion from scratch. And I don't mean like, hey babe, how you doing? Like running a line or something, or selling something. Hey, how about you buy this cup? Right? Not saying that. Like seeing something, reading a person, and then starting a conversation based on what you read. That's hard for a lot of guys, because they're afraid they're afraid somebody's going to like think that they're being creepy. They're afraid that, oh, what are you doing? Stalking me? Like, you have to be able to be a good conversationalist. And honestly, if I was going to give you any advice, Leonardo, I would say take improvisational theater. Learn how to start a conversation. And once you get to that point, then you can start things flowing. It's hard for me to give you this kind of advice, like just right out, within a 5-minute little answer, but that's the case. Jeff, thank you for the $50, my friend. I think I am red pill. Good. But I've been single 3 years and just focusing on myself, health, fitness, and adventures like traveling overseas when able. I want a woman, but it's just not my focus. What is the line between the red pill and the black pill? The black pill is that at least you're still open to it, right? At least you're still open. At least you haven't given up on everything. I think that one of the biggest risk right now, if you saw the last time I did, I think wasn't the religion one. It was the episode before that. I talked about this. I said the difference between like the red pill and the black. I don't believe that there is such a thing as the black pill. I think that there's only the red pill and how you react to it, to that new awareness. I don't believe that there's anything as MGTOW either, because I think that once you become red pill aware, you can't help but go your own way in some way, shape, or form. You can't help but not think differently. You're unplugged from the matrix. You cannot help but set yourself apart from other guys. The first thing, and I'm right, the first thing guys will say when they unplug from the matrix, when they would, like you just said, I think I'm red pill. Okay, when you say I think I'm red pill, there's no going back. Once you watch the show, once you read my book, whatever it is, there's no going backwards. You're not Cypher, man. You don't get plugged back into the matrix. You see it everywhere. And you either deal with it or you don't deal with it. That's what happens. The problem, most guys aren't ready for the red pill. You want to know why they go into denial, or why they hate even the idea of the red pill, or they hate the idea of guys even trying to understand intersexual dynamics. There's two reasons for that. The first one is like, guys should just know this. I just know it. How come you don't know it? Well, that's just be yourself. Just be yourself. A right girl will come along. You're a swell guy, and any woman will be happy to be your wife. Bullshit. Because you need to be your best self, first of all. And then second of all, what if I'm like anime guy who likes to watch Evangelion and suck down a 6-pack and eat a whole pepperoni pizza every Friday night, and I expect a Fitness America pageant girl to love me for who I am, right? That's how it works in girl world. Why wouldn't it work for me? I'm just being myself. That's me. Myself is anime, pizza, and beer, and pornography, and smoking weed, whatever it is. That's just me. How come I can't find the girl of my dreams? It's ridiculous. So that's good. It's good that you're focusing on yourself. It's good that it sounds like you made yourself your mental point of origin, but when it comes to like, what's the difference between the red pill and the black pill? None. Because when you become red pill aware, you have to deal with, again, you have to go back to discontent. You have to deal with discontent because what the blue pill had taught you, usually since the time you were born or you were raised this way, acculturated this way, socialized to believe in certain ideals that the blue pill world, girl world, gynocentrism, fempowerment, whatever it is, whatever term you want to put on it, the blue pill teaches you all of those ideals and the goals that you think are achievable fade away. And you go, oh man, now I see the light. And so you have a choice. You can become depressed about it, nihilistic and hopeless, or you can not cross the abyss, as I've said, or you can cross the abyss and you can see that you can be happy. I hate to use this term. You can be joyous, right? I'm in joy. You can be happy in the fact that you now have accurate information. You have the tools that you need to succeed, and you can adjust your goals from that blue pill bullshit to how goals that align with the red pill reality, like how women really are, how men really are, how the structure of the game is, right? What you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. What are your talents? What are your circumstances? I don't know, but at least you have the proper tools and the proper inspiration to do so. There is no black pill. If you scratch away the black pill, you'll find the blue pill underneath, and you'll find some kid who just can't accept it and really, 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 really wants those old ways of thinking, but now they can't have them anymore. And it crushes them, crushes the soul. There's no black pill. There's the guys who can make it across the abyss and see the opportunity that the red pill presents to them. And then there's the guys who just simply can't, and they get mired and stuck there, and they commiserate with their friends. They bitch and complain. And I'll tell you this is that's nothing new. They're not novel. They're not encountering something that other guys have also come to. They just have the internet now. They just have more access to the information than they did before. There were black pill guys and loser. I know, because I was one of them back in high school. You're a blue pill loser. Yep. For a while, anyways. Maybe not as bad as some, but I knew guys back then who were just bitter nerds, jerk-offs, whatever, who made something of themselves because they didn't like where they're at. They're like, I don't like who I am, and either I change the game or I change me. And that's what they did. They go, you know what? World's not going to change for me, so I'm going to be the best dude I can be, and I'm going to master it, and I'm going to kick ass in spite of it. I use and MGTOWs and black pill guys hate this when I say this. I use the example of Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead. Dude was just, I mean, come on. If you put Lemmy on Tinder, he ain't getting no ass. He's just this old creepy dude with a big old mole on his side. But Lemmy is probably, what did he say? He's had over 1,000 women, right? He's been with over 1,000 women. Before he was even Lemmy, before he was even a rock star, he had already fathered a child because he was in bands. He just wasn't super famous or anything. And he just decided, hey, in fact, if you ever watched, there's a great show. It's called The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2. It's the metal years. It's a documentary that they did in 1988 or 87, somewhere around there. And they interview Lemmy Kilmister, and he was admitting, he says, "Look at me. I'm not a pretty boy. He certainly wasn't part of the hair metal. He wasn't going to join Poison anytime soon." But the dude did well because he said, fuck it. I don't like who I am, or I don't want to be this. I'm going to be what I want to be. And I want to get laid. Okay, how am I going to do that? I want to play music. How am I going to do that? I want to go. He had a direction, and he kept going it, and success followed him. And now we still look back at least in the metal scene stuff, we look at Lemmy as sort of like one of the godfathers of that scene. He never compromised. He was just Lemmy till the day he died at 70 years old. So lived his own, and we look up to guys like that. We tend to anyways. We look at, I think guys in general look up to guys like that. And okay, maybe he's not your ideal of an alpha guy. He was like, an alcoholic, did drugs, whatever. Okay. But he lived his life the way he wanted to. You can take that same archetype and you can put it contextually into lots of things. It doesn't have to be the rock, metal scene. It could be, he could be a military guy. What is it? Patton. Patton did his own thing. We still remember, Patton as the general, right? We look at the guys who are the Mavericks. We look at the guys who did things their way. Frank Sinatra, I did it my way. We look at them as living the way that they want to and overcoming, I'm 5'5". Fuck that. Who cares? Be a Lemmy, be George S. Patton, whatever, be that guy. You can overcome that. And I think that's one of the things that we don't teach, certainly not the last millennial generation. We certainly don't teach the Z generation right now because they would rather commiserate and wallow in their own self-pity. Anyways, I always get on these stupid conversations. Sorry about that, Jeff, but thank you for your contribution. I do need to get to Aiden's thing here. I promised Aiden I would do it. I will go back to the other ones here, but Aiden sent this to me. He said, just a friendly reminder, blah, blah, blah. He said, basically, this was a follow-up to a super chat he gave me a while ago, a few weeks ago, week and a half ago. He says this, basically, I dumped her because she didn't comply with the whole NYC with X, I guess no contact. Just wondering what happens to a woman post-breakup. This is the salient part of this. What happens to a woman post-breakup when a guy dumps her just from a psychological red pill perspective? I'm 36. She's 34. We were together for a year. I could definitely tell she'd never been dumped before. Took it really bad. She keeps on texting me almost every day now, finding stupid reasons to get my attention, and I'm not responding. Used to me being beta nice guy from before, I guess. Okay. And no, I don't have any plans to go to LA, my friend. So what's going on right there? I don't know the particulars of like your breakup or whatever, but it sounds to me like she was trying to keep two in the kitty, right? I think one of the reasons why guys get bent about, like, I think this was from the mate guarding episode. Maybe it was, I don't know. One of the reasons why guys get possessive, right? Or they don't like, give me your phone, or if you're going to be with me, then you've got to cancel your OnlyFans, or you've got to whatever. And the reason why women get pissed off when a guy puts his foot down and says, well, if I'm the guy for you, then I shouldn't have to ask you to not talk to other dudes. If I'm the guy for you, then I shouldn't have, like, again, it's almost like just get it, but most guys won't follow this, but it'll just get it for women, right? So if I'm the guy for you, why are you still why are you still talking to your exes? If I'm the guy that you've just basically said, I want to be with you, I want to move in with you, I want to fuck only you, I want to be exclusive with you, why are you still talking to your ex? Do you have a kid with him? Okay, maybe there's something, obviously you got to keep the kid thing going, right? But if you're going, I had guys that tell me like, oh, I had a girlfriend and she wanted to go see her boyfriend in Vegas and should I let her go? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, you should let her go and cut her loose completely, because it's an issue about desire. So if a woman is not like voluntarily, like of her own volition, canceling her OnlyFans, cutting off or deleting pictures of old boyfriends from her Instagram, if a woman is still talking with old boyfriends, if a woman is on Facebook or whatever, instant messaging, I don't care, still doing that, while at the same time telling you that you're the only one for her, well, you got a problem, because the medium is the message. What is the medium telling you? The medium is telling you that you are not her first priority. You're the guy who's the fallback. You're the guy that she makes rules for, and he's the guy that she breaks rules for. How do you know that? Because the rule is don't talk to the son of a bitch, right? That's the rule, right? Well, she'll break the rule. She'll break her rule, break your rule, whatever boundary. She doesn't care. She will still talk to that guy. And again, it doesn't even have to be a rule. It's not like you have to say, bitch, if you don't keep talking to her, I'm going to break up with you. If you just the fact that you would ever have to do that, if you're already at that point, forget it. You're done. Just again, it's time better spent developing new prospective women than it is to try to repair that. And you can be in a relationship and not be broken up. You can be in a relationship and you, as the beta chump who is following all the rules and, doing everything that, I got to make this bitch happy. I got that kind of, if that's you and you're pedestalizing her, or she's your primary, or she's your sun and your moon and your one and your soulmate, whatever. And if that's where you're at and she's still talking to the old boyfriend, then that's the medium. And the medium is the message. I don't see why this is hard for you to understand. The medium is the message. Her behavior is the message. And that message is she desires him more than she fears crossing the boundaries with you. Certainly more than she desires you, but primarily, message-wise, more than she fears losing you. She didn't care about you. She doesn't care about losing you. She's still talking to other guys, or she's showing off her ass on OnlyFans. Somebody sent me this too. It's funny. I'll just read it here real quick. There's a New York Times article that says jobless women selling nudes on OnlyFans are struggling to pay the bills. Yeah, because the market's saturated. You can only show so many buttholes on OnlyFans before the market for naked buttholes is pretty much saturated now, ladies. You're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to find you're going to have to dress up your butthole, or you're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to get creative because everybody's already got that grift and you ain't nothing new. In fact, you probably go online and see so many naked bodies, you would feel like a general practitioner. I think I understand how like doctors feel when they see like naked bodies all the time. God, you guys are doing like, if you're a doctor, especially if you're a GA or GP, whatever, and you see like the people that you see and you see bodies all the time. Oh God, you're doing the Lord's work, because I couldn't do that. But, let me see what else is here. So Aiden, to answer your question. So what do women go through when a guy breaks up with them? Who do you think initiates breakups more? We already know that women initiate divorces more. 70% of divorces are initiated by women, at least last count. It might even be more now. I don't know. At least 70% of divorces are initiated by women. How many breakups do you think are initiated by women? I would say the majority of couples who have to be married, like boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever you want to call, are initiated by women, because women are the primary selectors. That's why. Men display, women choose. Women are hypergamous. Women have an attraction floor, men do not. Most men are the 80% guys who can't believe their luck when they finally get with a girl who is at least who wants to touch their dick, right? They can't believe it, and they'll do anything. They'll fly across the country. They'll change their major. They'll live in the same town. They'll move in with the girl. They'll make whatever, dispensation, whatever that they have to do to facilitate that relationship. The 80% of men are necessitous. They suffer from a scarcity mentality. They don't believe that they should be judgmental. They don't think they should ever have standards. In fact, that's why we call it getting lucky, right? We mythologize it. Oh, I'm so fortunate to be with her. It's a God thing. I'm lucky. Did you get lucky last night, Jim? Yeah, I got lucky. That's why we call it that, because 80% of guys, to 80% of men getting sex is like, it's like, hitting a blackjack at the tables, man. It's like, it's something that is fortuitous to have. So that's why we push it into the realm of mythology and mysticism. You got lucky. Even if we're just like laughing about it, why is that even the default? Because we think of it as, well, look at me, I'm a dork. Oh, she fucked me. It was great, man. And it doesn't matter who she is or what she's about. We forgive all of that stuff. But what happens is usually is this, is women who are not used to being dumped. What happens, I've told guys this before, is when if you knew, I had a guy explain this to me one time. If you knew that your best friend was going to punch you in the face the next time they saw you, if you knew 100% sure, as soon as I walk in that dude's going to crack me in the jaw, first of all, would you go do it? And let's just say you had to do it. Would you punch first, knowing that they were going to punch you first? For most women, when they come to the point of a breakup, it's because the hypergamous doubt the threshold of the hypergamous doubt, is he the best I can do, has been crossed. Most guys will tell you this also in red pill communities, PUA, whatever. Gosh, even dating coaches will tell you the same thing, is that when a woman breaks up with a guy, she's made that decision probably 4 months before she even breaks up with you, because she's usually preparing for it. You see a woman who's getting into, like, she's got a personal trainer, right? She starts losing weight. She starts going to the gym regularly. And you, being the stupid ass that you are, you go, oh, right, great. She's getting in shape. All right, it's for me. No, it's because she's going to bail on you. And now you are going to, you don't see the signs. Maybe you start getting into mate guarding. I don't know. But when women leave you, it's usually a formality. So when a guy leaves a woman, it's almost like you are the one, like the woman is the one that's rejected. And that's a switching, because what that does is it says that I'm leaving you, and therefore I think I am of higher value than you are as a guy. I can do better. This isn't going where I want it to. You're a great person, whatever. You can be as conciliatory as you want to, but I'm leaving. I'm taking my key. I'm taking the cat or the dog or whatever, and have a nice life. I tell guys to do this preemptively if they think that they're in a rough spot right now and the woman's going to break up with them, because what it does is it shakes that woman's idea of her decision to leave you based on hypergamous doubt. Because remember, hypergamy says, is he the best I can do? If you say, I am better than you can do, and I'm leaving, before she can dump you, you want to throw a woman into a tizzy. That's hard. And that is why, as you're experiencing, Aiden, is that women will try to find a way, because it throws them off. Like that the hindbrain thought that you were a loser chump beta. And now he's leaving me. I can't believe it. He must actually be higher value than I am. Or you get those women who will try to force your hand with commitment. You get the women who are like that one girl who went into Target in a wedding outfit and got the whole wedding party. And I honestly, I think it was sort of this stupid, publicity stunt, or it was like, just trolling on TikTok or whatever. But you get that, that's a metaphor, let's just say, for like women who want to have the talk with you. Or where is this going? Well, if you say, you know what? Nowhere, actually, I'm out. That is going to throw off her assessment of you. So when women are like, want to leave you, or they're done with you, or they believe that you aren't the best that they can do, and they're going to break up with you, when you flip the script on them, let's say, now there's the doubt switches. Well, does he really think that? Like, because it's a blow to her ego, first off. It means, because I think on some level of consciousness, women realize that women are the primary initiators of a breakup, certainly primary initiators of divorce. And when the guy says, no, I'm not, it's like, you can't fire me because I quit, right? That's the whole thing. You can't fire me because I quit. That's pretty much what you're saying. Well, why would you quit? Why does anybody quit a job? Usually because either the job is so shitty that they can't deal with it anymore, or they've got something else. I quit. How many guys give 2 weeks notice to their job? Just, you know what? I'll just find something else. Not many. Most guys, when they quit and here's my 2 weeks notice, sir. It's usually because they've got another job already lined up. And what happens in that? Well, the guy goes, well, what's it going to take to keep you here, Jim? I don't know, an extra $30,000 a year that you don't have, because Bill down the street is going to offer me that. Think of that in terms of like interpersonal relationships with women. You can't fire me because I quit. Or you preemptively quit knowing that you're going to get fired. Well, it looks like I'm going to lose my job. That's okay. I'm going to quit. I got another job here. I'm spinning plates. I got 3 other girls here, right? Those are my other jobs that I'm going to default to. I don't have to worry about that. You want to know why being non-exclusive is such a powerful position for guys? That's why. Because men's value increases. It increases slowly, assuming you're following your potential. You're maximizing your potential. It increases. And I think on some level of consciousness, women's hindbrain understands that their sexual agency is perishable. And they've got to get a guy locked down. And when you're the guy that says, nah, I can do better. And not, even if that's not how you break up, you don't have to say, I'm going to leave you because how fucked up would that be? I'm going to leave you because, there's 2 other girls that are like way hotter than you and they're interested in me. So I'm out. Like no guy does that. It's usually like, oh, we're 2 different people. We changed. We've grown apart. Wear my emotions on my sleeve. Be vulnerable. Blah, 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 blah. Guys, when they break up, like beta males don't break up with women. Women break up with beta males. And maybe that's a good explanation right there. Is if you break up with a woman, alphas tend to break up with women. Or they say, you know what, they turn their exclusive girl into a plate. And that's why. Because I think, again, women's hindbrain realizes that betas don't break up with women because betas tend to be necessitous. They tend to have scarcity mentality. You're my one. You're my. Again, it's strategic pluralism theory. I have to put all of my effort into one woman. Okay, that means I'm never going to do anything wrong. In fact, I'm going to do everything I can possibly do to ensure that that you're happy, and I'm always going to be the guy that you want. I'm the best that you can do. Well, that might be sweet, but alphas don't do that. Alphas don't have to do that because they have options. If you're optionless, she can break up with you. If you have options, then you break up with her, then suddenly you're the alpha because alphas break up with women, betas do not break up with women. And that's what happens. So women follow along. There you go. Book 4, DigiNomad says book 4 is fire. Fire! 3 options in the marriage section. Number 1. Okay, thank you. That was good. It's fire. Fire. Oh, there it is. Sorry, DigiNomad. That's you. I am not going to catch all of you guys today, I'm afraid. Israel says, Rollo, your books changed my life. Thank you. I'm still struggling with the old blue pill me, but can't look back now. Just wanted to say thanks. Greetings from Mexico. Thank you. I like to know where people are from. I like people when they check in and say, I'm from wherever. Mexico, you name it. I'm going to go back here. Jeff Jones says, nice. Thanks, Rollo. I'm really happy. I want women and sex, but I won't chase a woman. Fitness and my own interests come first. Well, okay, good. But don't lock yourself off don't think that you're chasing women just because women find you attractive and you go out on a date with them. Right? There's one, I hate this shit because people always say, especially in sort of the doom pill, oh, you're a pussy beggar if you want to learn to get better with women. No, you can learn to get better with women because usually it takes some social skills to do so. You need those social skills. And what's funny is as you'll find, Jeff Jones, that as you are going your direction and doing your thing and going your own way and everything, assuming you are maximizing your potential, you'll find that your social skills are improving and you'll find that you're more attractive because as you said, I'm prioritizing fitness and your own interests. Good. Well, guess what? As a result, you'll probably be more attractive to women. So if you go out with them, don't think that you're a pussy beggar just because you made the most of a really great situation for yourself. So when it comes to authenticity and when it comes to guys who tell you don't make women I'd say the same thing. Don't make women your highest priority. Women should only ever be a complement to a man's life and not the focus of it. Okay, great. That doesn't mean you're like focusing on just like, oh, I got to get this girl. That doesn't happen. Most guys don't do that. Most guys focus on one girl and they try to stick with that one girl. But most guys aren't pussy hounds. Most guys aren't PUAs. In fact, there are very precious few PUAs left on planet Earth. Precious few men are spinning plates. Even Dan Blazarian is Belzerian. Buzz Lightyear is, I would argue that he's probably not spinning, or if he's spinning plates, it's just because it's just sort of the natural outcome of what he's doing. And yeah, the guy is a scam artist. I got it. He's going into bankruptcy. Thanks. I know. He's not having some religious conversion either, Mike Cernovich. But just because you are interested in getting with women does not mean you are a pussy hound or you are chasing women. TC says, I dated a woman for a few months, ended abruptly. She's my neighbor, so it was awkward. Sorry, I lost it. It was awkward for a while until she came back around, started to play games again. I called her out. She blocked me. Oh my God, but she's your neighbor and she blocked you. Now she's back. Advice. Probably she's back because whatever she thought was a better option than you didn't pan out. You tell me, man. I just work here. What's the medium telling you? What's the message of her medium telling you? That's the best thing you can ask yourself. I don't know because I ain't you and I don't know the situation. What should I do? What's my advice? The medium is the message. That's your advice. Spin more plates. That's your advice. You would not be asking me about that. Like most of you guys, when you ask me questions about like, what should I do about this girl? She did this one thing and now she's doing something else. She's duplicitous. She's two-faced. Okay. And your point is, well, what should I do? Well, here's the first thing. Don't ask me what you should do because you already know what you should do. Save your 50. I would rather you save your 20 bucks, your 50 bucks or $5, whatever it is. Save that and answer it yourself. Because you know damn well what you should do. You know that you need to spin more plates. You need to have more options. Confidence comes from options. You would not be paying me a super chat for advice on this thing if you had those options, if you had something else going for you. Again, it's that same thing. It's like you don't have to be the 20%er guy to be non-exclusive. You can be an 80% guy and still have your mind open to like, okay, well, that ain't working there. I'm spinning other plates. I'm seeing other people. I've got other things going for me. If you're asking me about one chick who left and then came back and then left and came back again, and I don't know what's going on. It's mixed messages. No, it's not. It's the medium is the message, and you know what she's saying. You know. Don't give me them. I should refund your money. I should, because you know what you should do. So, anyways. Aiden, COVID has made it effing hard to meet women in public places, and I hate online buffers. Well, sounds like you're fucked, Aiden. Sounds like you're screwed. I can't solve that problem for you, my friend. You've got to go. Guess what? Aiden, you know what? Maybe you're not fucked. Here's what it is. Aiden, get creative. You just sounds like you're very discontent, Aiden. You're going to have to find some way. Tell me how are you going to fix that? I'm going to go backwards here. Sorry, guys. Lee Maxfield says, Rollo, thank you for your answer. It was more than I could have asked for. Thank you. Blah, blah, blah. Mental point of origin and or enlightened interest, self-interest are things I'm developing. You're the man. Don't stop. Okay, I won't. Thanks for that. And Strikan Sistla says, on my previous question, why don't I get matches in apps being brown? Maybe it's not because you're brown. I see white, black guys get matches, although not being super congruent at the same time, at times. Right. Well, here's the thing. Statistically speaking, if you're Indian, if you're Asian even too, and if I could write a program, if I could do like guys keep asking me, say, well, are you going to do a teaching program? Are you going to do Teachable? Or are you going to do something like Troy and even Aaron and John from Modern Life Dating? Are you going to do something like that? Like, because everybody's got a program. What's Rollo going to do? I don't have a program. But if I did, you know what I would aim it for? I would aim it for guys who are Indian and guys who are Asian. Because you guys got it rough right now in the global sexual marketplace. Ain't gonna lie. You got it rough. First off, here's what you do. Get the fuck off of Match.com or your apps or whatever and learn how to talk to women in person. Even if that means talking to the fat girl at the cash register. Learn how to initiate a conversation. Learn how to speak. Increase your social intelligence. You will not do that on Tinder. You will not do that on Bumble. You will not do that on whatever social media or chat, whatever the hell it is that you're complaining about because you think that it's because you're brown. All right? Go meet other brown girls and talk to them in face to face like a human being. It will be very refreshing, I think. Stop basing your self-esteem on dating apps. You need to be Teflon, right? I hate, I'm worthless. Why? Because black guys and white guys are getting all the tail online. Well, guess what? That's a creator. Sounds like you're discontent. Sounds like you're going to have to figure something out. You're going to have to get clever or you're going to have to get dead. What do you want? I forget who said this. Like, if you don't like who you are, you have two choices. You can wallow in your self-pity. You can sedate yourself in self-pity, or you can change who you are. And you can really do that. You can make yourself more valuable. How are you going to do that? I don't know. I don't know what your specific circumstances are. Get jack, get money, learn game, those things. But I would say that you look for opportunities. If it's a dead end online, stop basing your self-worth on what you see online. Right? So. Natal Sabag says, do you think women get their epiphany phase sooner based on culture? Yes. In Israel, we have mandatory army and it makes people mature faster. Yeah, you're in a different cultural narrative. You're in a different circumstances. Yes. I served in a 90% female base, so I've seen it happen a lot. Yes. Okay. So does it happen sooner? Do things change up a little bit? Yeah, of course. I've said this before. And this is a generational thing. It's it's a cultural thing. It's a social thing. It's a national thing. But women still go through that epiphany phase because all women are still human women who have a perishable sexual agent. They are only attractive and sexually marketable. And I hate to put it in those terms, but that's the way it is. They are only sexually marketable for a certain amount of time, according to our biology, our evolved interests, blah, blah, blah. Does that change according to culture? Yes. Does it change according to region? Yes. You're 100% right. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It just happens either sooner and sometimes later. Sometimes it happens twice. In societies where women can afford to have 2 epiphany or 3 epiphany phases, absolutely it can happen. So, Mark Taylor, what do your wife friends think about you and what you write about? Do they ever talk crap about you? Everybody talks crap about me, Mark. Everyone. You know what's funny is I get more shit slung at me from guys within the manosphere than I have outside ever. And I think what's funny is I get, like, when I talk to guys who, like, I've got guys in my band who I love like brothers now. I've been in a part of this band for over a year now. And I like what we're doing. If you want to hear the music, it's Trial of Ascension. We're on Spotify. You can get the link right below. And people always ask about the intro music. That's me and an old band that I was in. I'm actually trying to convince the other guys in the band to actually pick it up as a cover of my own. It's not really a cover. It's my own original stuff. So, but anyways, they're kind of outside the manosphere and they understand. They know who I am. They know I'm rollotomassi. And so they're really... I don't get too much crap from people outside. It's people who are on the inside who are kind of invested in it. And I have guys who are curious about it, who are outsiders, let's just say. Maybe this is a good message. I never try to evangelize for the red pill. And by that, I don't go out and say, you need to do that. Here's the good news. I don't do that. If people want to come to me and ask me about certain things or whatever, or I heard that the manosphere was this, okay, I'm happy to answer those questions if you're an outsider and you're curious about all this stuff. Most people who, like when I see people writing articles about the manosphere, I can tell whether they understand it or they are completely, it's just clickbait. It's just a bait article, and most of it is. It's because they don't have any. They're just throwing out preconceptions of what they think it ought to be about, and they never ask me about specifics. So do my friends, my wife's friends? Let's see, pretty much everybody on my wife's side of the family knows about my books. I think it's a testament to how curious they really are, in the fact that like most of them have not even read my books. I know a couple of them have maybe read book 1, and that's about it. But no, I don't get too much crap from them. So that's a good question though. Talal says, "What's your advice for supporting siblings, i.e., sister as an elder brother?" Well, remember when I told you about how women want to play the game and they don't want to be told that they're playing a game? I think in terms of your brother or your sister or whatever, if you're an elder brother and you want to watch out for your sister, there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually part of the mate guarding dynamic, only it's like gene guarding. It's it's family altruism. Yeah, you're probably going to feel very protective of her, and there's a reason for that, and embrace that, right? And she will embrace that too. She wants to know that she's protected by the men in her tribe, and your first tribe is your family. So advice, I would say, is embrace that, live it, own it. That's okay. First of all, think that internalize the idea that there's nothing wrong with any of that. Second of all, I would say, when I was saying before, like women want to play the game and they don't want to play the game, I would say this with your sister or with people that you care about, all that goes out the window. Be as rational and reasonable and say, look, I don't like this guy, and here's why I don't like this guy. If you're protecting her, if you want to like in some way like influence her, if you have some sort of like have conversations like you would with me, like you would with anybody who's red pill, and let her know like remember, women are only going to sort of take red pill awareness in little bits and pieces, like the stuff that's flattering to them, they'll listen to. So if something resonates with her, go with it. But I would say this is that because she's your sister, she's your family, you're not trying to get with her. You're not trying to play the game per se. You can still play the game. I use Amuse Mastery with my daughter. That's the one thing that really kind of woke me up, or I understood Amuse Mastery better once I had a daughter, because I found myself naturally doing it with my daughter, because my daughter looks to me for knowledge and wisdom and playfulness and protection and all the things that women look for on the beta bucks, like the 3 P's: protection, providing, and parental investment. If you have a daughter, well, that's really what she's looking for in you as a father. She's looking for you to, what she needs. It's great if you're dominant. It's great if you have a capacity for violence. It's great if you have like all this kind of alpha dominant stuff too. Great. But women, like little girls, your little girl, your daughter is not so much obviously not looking for that, the alpha side. She's more looking for the beta bucks. She's more looking for the alpha strength in that security. So something similar to that, you could also make a case and say, well, that's what I provide for I'm the man of the house because dad's gone or he's dead or whatever. I'm the man. I have to be the man now. And so she's going to look to me for long-term security that she would look for in a guy that maybe hopefully that you would want her to marry. So be that. You're probably going to be the masculine role for her. Understand you're doing that and understand there's nothing wrong with that. Travis Williams. So you think women can learn to not be solipsistic? Yes. I'm thinking that even if they can, society doesn't seem to provide motivation for this. Also, yes. Western culture that is gynocentric, that is fempowering, that is all about, that makes the female experience the correct experience for the globally acceptable correct experience, will always push women's solipsism to narcissism. As I said, I don't think women are naturally narcissists, but I do think that they are naturally solipsistic. Can they learn not to be? Yes, and they have been for a long time up until the sexual revolution, where we said, you know what, women, all bets are off. There's no responsibility for you. 100% authority and 0% responsibility. Ladies, have at it. So what's going to happen? What's going to get exacerbated in that situation where there's no buffers societally or family-wise or religious-wise or whatever? What's going to happen? Well, solipsism is going to develop into narcissism for as long as they can maintain it. And then it's going to be like, oh, I've learned my lesson and I'm such a wiser woman now. And you're just going to see social convention after social convention reinforce that narrative. That's why. But yes, just as men can learn to not follow their dicks around, right? Just as men can learn to eat healthy. I know that sounds a little weird, but that's a natural impulse, right? I want to eat. Okay, what do I want to eat? Cookies and ice cream cones and popsicles. Cake and sweets and things that taste good to me. That's what I want to eat. Well, yeah, because that's your natural impulse, is to get high calorie, high energy food, because that was what promoted survival back when you were living with saber-toothed tigers. But now it's now it's making 70% of people overweight and morbidly obese. Can you conquer that nature? Yes, you can. If you're not a dumbass and you have motivation and you say, you know what, I'm going to go keto or whatever. Yeah, you can do that. You can absolutely override your natural proclivities, and women can too when it comes to solipsism, and can and do. It doesn't mean it goes away. It just means that it's under control. Only now we don't control it. We encourage it. That's why. What on earth are you sending me here, Sambata? Sambata, thank you for moderating the chat today and catching me up on all of these things. Darko, I got to yours. Hangwani says, Rollo's doing the Lord's work. Amen, brother. Lee, let's see. You said something about dreams. We got to that. Oh boy. ZDM 314. ZDM 314. He says, where is a good book to read about mastering the game? Thank you. I should write it, huh? Should I write that? Should that be the next Rational Male book? How to learn game. Learning game. What to know about game. I'm not going to teach you how. Here's 12 steps to 12 rules for game by rollotomassi. I should, huh? Should I write that book? Because I can't tell you where a book like that would exist. And I'll tell you one of the reasons why that doesn't exist. Like, here's good game. First of all, people hate PUA. People think you say PUA and suddenly, or you say game and suddenly everybody thinks mystery and elevator boots and black nail polish and fuzzy feather boas and top hats. Right? That's not a thing anymore. Most people, when they learn game, it's not from a book. It's from other guys teaching game. Troy Francis has some good books on game. There you go. Try those guys. But I can't give you one big Bible, the great big book of everything when it comes to game, because I can give you the principle. You want to know where to learn game? Read the Rational Male. Seriously, because you'll understand why game works. Why the things that John or Myron or Mystery or whoever is a game advocate, proponent of game, the reason why it works, you'll find why those things work in the Rational Male. I don't tell you how they go. I'm not saying, here, try this and do these and you'll practice this and you'll be a game expert. That's why it's called PUA. Pick up artist. There's an art to it. You have to be able to improvise again. You have to be able to read people. You have to be good at it. You have to be good with human beings to be able to employ game effectively. In fact, you're really employing it now to an extent. Everybody has a game, right? How do I go from point A to point B? How do I interact with these? How do I get a job? How do I get laid? How do I deal with my mom? Game really, when it comes to intersexual dynamics, it's like, how do I go from being lonely and celibate to getting laid? Okay, well, we can talk about that because we contextualize that, but 9 times out of 10, it's like practicing. How do I do it? Well, here's what you do. Okay, how many times do I have to do it before things are like easy and I can play on God mode? I don't know. YOLO, hi. How to know when a woman is testing for, and okay, I already got to you. Lee, I got to you. Jeff, I got to you. Irish Alpha says the Soviets used to inject female athletes with male testosterone. Really? Females cannot compete unless men are weakened and they adopt male behavior. Yes, that's exactly why we have had a systemic. I didn't realize that was on. That's why we have been systematically effeminizing women or effeminizing men. And now here we are. Hola, my favorite guitarist says, if women are just are, what have they become today? I don't have another 3 hours. Hola, I'm sorry. Have women changed, or is it the culture? Where does this incredibly high standards come from? Well, it comes from two places. It comes from a misperception of women's innate sexual, like women's self-perception back when we were stuck in local sexual marketplaces. Like if you could go back in time and deal with local sexual, and I mean this like in your family, your school, your church, or wherever, like your local sexual marketplace in Reno, Nevada, right? In wherever town that you're in. And you had, you could go back in time and experience that again. You would find that women had a much more realistic self-assessment of their sexual market value and acted accordingly. Now they don't do that. Now we're in a global sexual marketplace. And that's inspired by two things. One is that it's choice perception, right? Or choice, what's the thing? From paradox of choice, right? They think they have all this choice. And they're overwhelmed by that choice. And that choice of like beta orbiters, plus they think that they're entitled to, because they've been taught from very early ages that they're only the best for you, don't settle. Like to settle is almost as bad as being judgmental for women. You settled. Oh, well, I had to. Well, most women do actually have to settle because they burn themselves out on their prime years, and they go through their hoe phase, right? Their party years, and then they got to go, okay, well, they got to follow Sandbergian hypergamy and find the guy who is sort of Poindexter when they get to be 30 years old and hope he's still stupid and ignorant of the game. That's becoming less and less available to women, but that's what they still believe. So yeah, it's screwing things up. And I think this is probably a question for a much bigger show, but I'm not against women having that choice. I'm not against, I don't want to disempower women. I don't want to take away their vote. I don't think that that's the answer, but I do think the answer is not making men liable for the choices that women make, because that's what we do right now. So if a woman is a single mother, that's a choice she made. Don't try to convince the vast majority of men that they're better men or more manly if they help you complete your hypergamous optimization by being the chump that raises another man's child. You made that choice. If the guy comes around to it on his own volition, organically, well, then you can have a conversation with that fellow. But don't go say, real men marry single moms. Fuck you. All that is completing your mating strategy at the cost of his mating strategy. It is not a compromise between sexual strategies, or mating strategies. It is an abandonment of his. And the only guys who are going to be amenable to that abandonment are going to be the guys you don't want to be with in the long term anyways, ladies. So stop it. But I'm not against women becoming doctors or astronauts or whatever the hell it is. I don't know. I'm not against women in the military even, really. Just don't try to change the game to suit yourself. Don't try to change men to be what you want them to be because of the choices that you made. If you want to be this independent woman, that means you're independent in your responsibility and your liability and your culpability for those decisions that you made. If you want to have this equal society, then you have equal responsibility. Stop making men your scapegoats. Well, we'll never do that, by the way. We will never stop that because women are innately the victim sex. They're innately that way because they're the most vulnerable sex. You're not going to, you can take the, I said this in book 4, you can remove you can remove the human from the tribe, but you can't remove the tribe from the human. You can remove the savage from the jungle, but you can't remove the jungle from the savage. You can remove what is it? You can still, like, what was the other question I just got? It was can women not be solipsistic? Can we train them and to teach them to temper that and control? Yeah, we can, but you can't remove that. It's still there. It's still an influence. That's the whole thing. Really, if you read book 4, that's what it's really about. I think it's equally as unhealthy to think that we can stop being tribalistic. No, we can't. That's it's us. We're wired that way. That's the machine. We're that way. How are we going to deal with that? You can deal with it healthy, or you can deal with it constructively or destructively. How are you going to do it? You choose. Tell me how we want to do this. But you're not changing the machine. You're not changing the game. You can master the game. You're not going to change the game. Stuart says, oh no, it's not Stuart. Did I get Stuart gave me $38.99 Australian dollars. Is that what that was? I didn't even see what that was. Guys, don't give me any more. I gotta go. It's been over 3 hours, and you guys get all pissy and mad whenever I do 3-hour shows. Why do you get mad at my 3-hour shows? Yes, I do have some clip shows coming, by the way, too, just so you know. Thank you for that $38 in Australian, whatever it is. Aiden, I got to you. 0. Thank you for that 10 Australian dollars too. Gerard Parker. Oh, Gonzalez, here you are. What do you want? Thanks for the book, Mr. Tomassi. You are welcome. Got all your books? Good. Enjoy. Tell me what you think of book 2. Yeah, what is the bang for your buck electric guitar that won't break the bank? You can get, if you really like this is a Les Paul. Well, it's not a Les Paul. This is an ESP. There's lots of really good quality guitars. Get something that's a good brand. I tend to like we're supposed to be playing ESP LTDs in this band because we're trying to get an endorsement from we're trying to get an endorsement, ESP. Please help us out here. I like ESP. I like Ibanez. I also play Kramer, which is a sort of an older 80s brand guitar, which is still around today. But if you want a good guitar that won't break your bank, you can, if you like Gibson stuff, you can look at Epiphone. That's their kind of budget brand. It's probably spend anywhere between, what's the Epiphone cost? $200 to $600, somewhere around there. Won't break the bank. Same thing. A lot of big name guitar companies like ESP, Gibson, Fender, they have like their budget brand, like Fender Squires is a different animal than like a Fender Strat. Gibson Les Paul will probably run you about $2,500. A good one will cost you about $2,500, whereas an ESP or a Epiphone will probably cost you, a good Epiphone may cost you $6,000. So there you go. Look for them though. Look at good brands. Look at. Thank you for asking me that. Nobody asks me about those things. I'm looking at a BC Rich Warlock, right? Or not a Warlock, a BC Rich Mockingbird right now with Evertune and Fishman pickups on it. It is about a $1,600 guitar. But I did just finish writing a book, so I feel like I kind of deserve it. Scott Colpitt says, currently reading the book of Pook and Hartiste on game. There's a start for anyone. Okay, good. Yeah. What's this? Ace says, when it comes to game or seducing women, read Oh Say It Again, Mastering the Art of Verbal Seduction, Oral Sex. Okay. Lee Maxfield, what if your dad was a gamma male? You're going to have a tough time with that. I know, but help some of your fans out. If your dad's a gamma male, in all likelihood, he is your mother is probably a very domineering woman, or else she's just kind of like given up on him. She's either in the driver's seat or she's given up on him. If that happens, God forbid women, like when women, I think that one of the reasons why, Morgan Stanley was talking about the rise of the she economy and how women between 25 and 44 years old are going to be single in the future, like as of 2030. Was it 52 or over 50% of women will be single and childless between the ages of 25 and 44 after 2030. That was what they said. I think what happens, one of the reasons for that is because women don't want to marry your dad. They don't want to marry your gamma male father. They don't want that. In fact, they don't want it so badly that they will work soul crushing jobs so they don't have to bear his children, because they believe that they deserve Giga Chad, and they probably got Giga Chad, or they could get somebody like that. They don't have to. They can get the sex and they can live happily ever after. They're living the MGTOW life. They're living the black pill life, and you don't even know it. Like, they can go fuck whoever they want to and be happy because they're women, and they can do whatever they want because there's a separate standard of justice. What are you going to do about it? Play the game better or try to change the game? Most guys don't want to do either. What did you say? You said Zero says, been unplugged for years. Of course you have. In 2020, replugged. Been watching The State of Women, World Open Hypergamy. How do I come back? Currently anger, depression stage, feeling hopeless about the future. I think a lot of people are, Zero. A lot of people are feeling hopeless. People will criticize me because there's a great, what does he say? Cobra Kai. Anyways, Zero. I like bands like Steel Panther. I know people are going to throw rocks at me. That's one of my guilty pleasures. I know they're a dork-off band. I know that they're not a serious band. But that parody band makes me feel better than pretty much anything in modern music right now. And I like a lot of heavy shit. I like the stuff that I'm doing with my band. Don't get me wrong. I like hard, heavy stuff. But if I want to just say screw it and not think about it. It's hard for me not to think about things. It's hard to sort of put the world on hold, because I think that I fear, and maybe you guys do too, I feel like I fear that if I do that, then I'll miss something that's vitally important. Like if I miss one day on Twitter, or if I miss one day or something happened and like, oh, did you realize you're being hacked? Rollo, what are you going to do with all your videos? I can't let my guard down for one fucking second. Thank you for that, my friends. Yeah, it is. It's kind of depressing. And you can apply that to a lot of different things, but I think it's when it comes to like women and it comes to the intersexual dynamics, which is what we talk about here. Yeah, it can be. So how do you get over that? Well, be the best you like. Again, make yourself your mental point of origin. Do the things that you love to do. Do the things. It's really easy to get out of that habit. I know, because I'm trying to get back into my hobbies. I'm trying to get back into things that I sort of put on hold because I wanted to finish the book. My blog being one, but then I find myself getting roped back into like updating the book, updating this, making sure this is optimizing everything, because I can't go to sleep at night going, did I make a mistake? Should I have done it this way? Should I have done it that way? Kind of thing. And so it's real easy to sort of, what is it? And paralysis through analysis kind of thing. So, last but not least, I will give you, what did you say? I have never had a girlfriend. How can I hide this from women? Or what should I do if possible? You don't have to hide it, first of all. So what? So you move on. You fake it till you make it. You have to hide it. Why do you think you have to hide anything? I'm not saying you go and say, I never had a girlfriend before. You don't have to, why even talk? Who cares? Who cares? You don't want, why is that even a thing? Spin plates, man. You don't need a girlfriend. You're probably young enough. I don't know if you are, but you don't need a girlfriend. Spin plates. Learn how to deal with women. Learn game, get muscles, get money. Remember that you don't even consider monogamy until you're 30 years old, Joseph. You can't build a blue pill life in a red pill paradigm. That's right. You cannot achieve blue pill ideals in a red pill paradigm, because blue pill ideals are bullshit. You have to accept that the blue pill is all lies. It's all ideals, anyways. The goals that you thought were attainable are not attainable in a red pill paradigm. The good news is there's all kinds of awesome ass shit that you can achieve because you're red pill and you understand it. You understand how things work. You are aware of intersexual dynamics. You understand. And again, like I said, I'll leave you guys with this here in a second. Rational. Cool. I'll leave you guys with this is no, you cannot, you will never achieve blue pill ideals in a red pill paradigm because you're striving for things that are based on a presumption of red pill as sort of like your operative condition. They're not. They're false. That's why I keep saying you guys are purple pill. Not because I think you're an asshole or it's an invective or an insult. You're a cook. That's not me. When I call somebody a purple pill, it's an analytical assessment of what it is that you are attempting to do as a purple pill shuckster, right? So I'm not trying to call you an asshat because I think you're purple pill. I'm just calling you purple pill because that's what you are. Purple pill guys try to use the red pill to attain their blue pill goals in life. The red pill does not exist so that you will hate women or you will be despondent or you will be nihilistic or you will hate women. It is so that you will not hate women for what they can never be to you. And guys will say, "Oh, that's horrible. I want them to be this." Well, guess what? The this that you want them to be, that's based in the blue pill that you still think is achievable. That's why the black pill is bullshit. Because it's guys who are, you know why guys in the black pill, quote unquote black pill, get pissed off so much, such anger and such, vitriol and such, doom and gloom and whatever. Like most guys in the black pill right now are already turning it into a niche and are already trying to make money off of it. But the reason why it's so seductive and so compelling is because the guys who are pissed off the most about what the red pill shows them are the guys who are the most invested in that blue pill paradigm. They want it so fucking bad. They want the wife. They want the girl who loves them, who wants to fuck them all the time like a porn star and still be good with their kids and have all that. Like they want that so bad that when they see that that's not possible with red pill awareness and red pill knowledge, they get really pissed off. They get really upset because they realize that they'll never have it. Not necessarily because they don't understand the red pill. They do. But because they think that they really should be able to get that with red pill awareness. And then they realize it's been a lie all along. I'm fucked. Yeah, there is. But guess what? You're not fucked because you can take that red pill paradigm and that red pill awareness and turn it into something better and to live a better life. That's according to the ideals that you now you're into control of. You get to decide what you want to do. I am demand. All right, guys. I will see you guys later. I am going to be on Masculine Geek tonight in another hour and a half. Fuck. You guys kept me here forever. You guys kept me here this long. So anyways, I will be on Masculine Geek at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be doing a D&D session and it's going to be intense. I'm going to see if I can kill one of these fuckers today. So there you go. I'll see you guys later. I will be back on Rule Zero on Saturday at 11:30 a.m. And then again, I'm back to regular schedule. So I will be on this show at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. That will be on Sunday. So I will see you guys then. Go buy the new book. You got the address right here, and it's the first link in the description. See you later. Bye-bye.